Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Sunday, October 13th, 2024, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $sign ORION-NWSF or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got the Cincinnati Bengals versus the New York Giants. Kickoff is going to be here in roughly 10 minutes. And I'm also going to be covering the New York Mets versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. So they're both starting here around the same time. So I'm definitely excited to see some playoff baseball there in the NLDS. NLCS, baby. And then we got a matchup here with the Bengals and the Giants. Let's go, baby. And let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get ready for some playoff baseball as well as a regular season matchup between the Bengals and the Giants. Let's get it, baby. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Sunday. And on the thumb on the left, you already know what it is. It is the Tiger King, Joe Burrow. And on the right, it's Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones. Let's go, baby. Obviously, on paper, this might not be the most exciting matchup. People may assume that the Bengals are going to blow out the Giants, even though they are on the road. But again, both of these teams have struggled quite a bit. The Bengals are 1-4. They are more desperate. The Giants are 2-3, but they're 0-2 at home. So you don't really know, what's going to happen here tonight. The Giants are desperate to win at home. The Bengals just need a win. So I think that we're going to get a little bit better of a game than people anticipate. And then obviously on the NLCS side, we got the Mets and Dodgers. We already know that that's going to be an amazing series, even though we assume that the Dodgers will win in 5 or maybe 6. And on the other side, with the Guardians and the Yankees, that's one that might be able to go 6 or 7 games. But we're going to do the Jets and the Bills tomorrow. But on Tuesday and Wednesday, we will do NLCS or ALCS games, depending on who is playing on that particular day. So I believe we'll be doing Bills, Jets tomorrow. Tuesday, I believe Guardians, Yankees. And then Wednesday, we'll end up doing, obviously the matchup with the Guardians, Yankees, and then obviously Dodgers and Mets. So I'll have to take a look at the schedule here in a couple minutes to see where we're at. But again, we're going to be shooting for 20 likes within the first hour, 30 to 50 overall, and obviously 100 on the donos on every single stream. Let's go, baby. Chase Gaming in the building. What's good? Oh, nice. Thanks for the reminder. I need to turn that on as well. So I'm going to be triple dipping. We're going to do a triple header here. I want to make sure I'm watching that as well. What time does that start? Is it started already? Is it going to start at 6 o'clock p.m.? I'll take a quick look here. I got a lot of screens up. So Grew in goal, and hopefully he does better than he did in game 1, obviously against the Blues, and we can get a dub. We're definitely wanting to be able to feed off the momentum that we ended up getting yesterday in double overtime. What's good, brother? Nice. How did it go? Hopefully everything went well, and keep grinding, man. Like I said, if that's a passion of yours, keep grinding away. And again, we'll definitely be linking up on the next WWE PLE. But in the meantime, you're more than welcome to hop in and hang out as much as you can. We miss you. Michael in the building. What's good? Yeah, the thing is when Antoine Winfield Jr., the best safety, is playing, he made his impact right away. We got a big hit on Olave. He scooped up a fumble and scored. He hasn't been available since week 1. And we have felt, obviously, his presence missed. And as soon as he comes back, literally within a few minutes, he ends up scoring a touchdown. So, again, we weren't, full strength, but we're getting closer to that. And it definitely feels good when you can beat up the rival, Nolans Saints, after losing to the Falcons, obviously, a few weeks back. But again, when we're healthy, we're going to be one of the better teams in the NFC. I'm not going to say we're the best, because I don't think I would go that far, but I think that we can compete with any team in the NFC. I don't think really anyone's above us. I think we're on the same level as everyone else. And on the AFC side, we got some quality teams over there as well. But, I still think that the Bucs have a very good chance to win the NFC South. And for whatever reason, if the Falcons end up winning the NFC South and we get second place, I still think that we can make a decent run this season. Vince Dunn out, Riker Evans in. Okay. Stormbum in the building. What's good? How are you? Chase Gaming in the building. What's good? Sarah in the building. What's good? Like, sub, donate, comment, share. Let's get to 100 in donos. Let's do it. Let them know. Yeah, I was going to say, for any Eagles fan, just the simple fact that AJ got in the end zone and you're actually seeing targets go to those guys and having them in the lineup. Obviously, we know with Jalen Hurts, a quarterback's best friend is a good offensive line and a good running game. But for a guy like Jalen Hurts, also, what is a real good benefit is getting to throw your two top receivers who haven't been available with injuries and a concussion for the last few weeks. So way to get back on track with the Fly, Eagles Fly. Let's go, baby. Cole in the building. What's good? Daniel in the building. What's good? Well, sometimes, that's how it goes, right? And, with the outcomes, if it's already predetermined or whatnot, but just being able to put in the reps, and to get, obviously time to be able to sync up with someone else. And again, it's not going to be something that anybody can do. Keep grinding on your dreams, my brother. All right, we got Mets and the Dodgers. We got Bengals and Giants. And then I need to throw up the Kraken game here too. So give me 1 sec. All right, let me get it situated here. Where are we at here? Stars and Kraken at Climate Pledge. And I got pretty good internet, so I should be able to do 3 games at once and stream. But if anything starts lagging, then obviously I'll have to cut one of them back. But I think we're good. So I got the game for the Bengals and the Giants here on the TV here in the studio. And then we got a couple games here on the computer with the Mets and the Dodgers. And I just pulled up the Stars and the Kraken. I don't know if we're going to be able to beat the Stars. They're very, very good. I wouldn't be shocked if they ended up making the Stanley Cup this year or making a deep run in the playoffs. They've been getting kind of deeper and deeper the last couple years, but just falling a little bit short. The competition is fierce in the West, obviously in the NHL, but this will be a good test for us to be able to see what we can do. Oh, it looks like we're on the road. We're not actually in Climate Pledge. We are in Dallas. That's going to make it even tougher. Let's go, baby. David in the building. What's good? Zay in the building. What's good? Oh, yeah. Oh, you could probably argue that was probably and I don't think it's really an argument that you're going to be able to have with a lot of the different Kraken fans, but that's definitely probably the best pickup that we made in the off season, based off impact. And again, we're going to be able to, need that. I mean, there's 2 or 3 guys that we ended up picking up that obviously can make a difference on the team. But Montour obviously is going to be one of the top 2, top 3 new additions that should be able to help us hopefully, get close to a playoff run or make the playoffs. You're gonna have me posted up like Sign Guy Dudley. You be Devon, I'll be Sign Guy Dudley. I got you, my brother. Elliot in the building. What's good? I lost too, bro. And again, what stinks is that, the defense did well, up to about 3 quarters, but you didn't get any, touches there with Javonte Williams, which shows you need more depth. You need to be able to get other guys and not just rely on the same guys on the bench. And sometimes you're going to have to, make changes weekly, because anytime you end up just sticking with a guy just because he got points maybe the week before, sometimes it comes back to bite you. And the Charger defense, obviously, it normally is pretty good, but both of us were in pretty good positions to win. But again, my running back shit the bed. And I need better production out of guys like James Conner and a few others. And it just stinks when you end up being so close to being able to win a matchup and you fall just a little bit short with guys kind of underproducing. And you almost had, 2 comebacks where you ended up being down by, 60, 70, 80 before any of your guys played. And you made a hell of an effort, especially having my Chris Godwin, getting you, 35 plus points. But sometimes, if you have one or two weak spots, or if you end up shitting the bed in 2 or 3 spots or more, sometimes there's just nothing you can do. Because like even in that matchup against the Broncos, the touchdown that Bo Nix had, right? Because obviously Matt ended up playing Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton in the flex. He dropped it. They gave him the touchdown, based off the call. But when he ended up having the one-handed grab, the ball moved and they ended up reviewing it and calling it a touchdown. Now, I still more than likely would have lost maybe by like 1 or 2 points instead of like 15, but there is a chance that I might have been able to pull off that win or get a little bit closer, but it is what it is. Sometimes, when you end up having plays that are 50-50, just like we saw in the Oregon Duck game, sometimes they're going to call them and sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're going to review plays and sometimes they're going to get it right and sometimes they're not. But, I feel for you because I feel that, both of us, could be in the top 4, at the end of the season. But again, there's going to be 6 teams battling for 4 spots. And I really wanted this win this week to get to 500, to kind of catch up and to get into, maybe 4th place. But again, I'm going to have to wait a few more weeks and hopefully Nick Chubb, Cooper Kupp, and Run CMC will be playing. Rumors are Chubb will be playing next week, but I probably won't start him because I want to see how he looks. Cooper Kupp should be within a week or 2. CMC probably 3 weeks away. But again, our season is only 14 weeks long. And then you have 2 weeks of playoffs. So I'm running out of time. I haven't even got to use Christian McCaffrey at all this year. I've used Cooper Kupp for a week, and Nick Chubb has been out for the whole year with the ACL tear. He's been out since week 2 of last year. So I need my injured players to come back to kind of give me some more depth and a little bit more stability. But hopefully you'll have better luck next week and you can get back on track. So, yeah. I hear you, dude. And again, I you had a rough one there. I got a Ducks win. I got a Bucks win, right? So I got my college football team to win. I got my NFL team to win. But losing in fantasy fucking stinks, especially if you care. Now, if you don't give a shit, then it doesn't matter, But again, for a lot of us, it means a lot. We put a lot of time and effort and energy to try to make sure we set the correct lineup to give us the best chance to win. And you hope you don't leave points on the bench. And Matt ended up leaving some points on the bench and he still won. So, sometimes that's just what ends up happening. It ends up kind of being just one of those things that, you have guys that underperform and they shit the bed and it stinks. But hopefully you'll be able to get back on track with me next week. All right, we got Kraken and Stars. We got Dodgers and Mets. And I got Giants and the Bengals. We're doing a triple header here today. Let's go. Padres, Saints, and you definitely got the triple on the wrong end of the stick there. Finley in the building. What's good? And here we go. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you guys haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Let's get to 20 within the first hour, 30 to 50 overall, and obviously 100 in the donos on every single stream. And the faster that we can get to 20, that'll obviously help us hit the algorithm a little bit better. And then hopefully we can get a few more subs so that way we can get over 20,700. I think, we hit 20,600 yesterday. But I think someone, out of the 20,600 decided to take their sub away. So we're still now 1 sub away, obviously, from the 20,600 number. So hopefully we'll be able to get that tonight and maybe a couple more so that way we don't have to go back and forth. First down and 10. Shotgun set. Burrow. Little screen pass. And then also I had a choice between Zach Moss or James Conner. And I didn't really feel very good about James Conner playing the Packers because they've been playing so well up to this point. Defensively, they have been giving up a 100-yard rusher, in 3 out of the 5 games going into this game. So I thought that, maybe James could do it, but I figured that the Cardinals would be down. But I didn't know that they were just going to completely shit the bed and not even try. And that really killed me today because I was really hoping for 14 to 18 out of Conner. And again, when you end up expecting 14 to 18 and you get like 5 or 6, most of the time you're fucked. And you know how that goes. Third down. Mets 0-0 with the Dodgers, and we got a 0-0 matchup with the Kraken and the Stars. Let's go. Yeah, Ingram but the thing is, Ingram on the bench, like you said, when he was coming back from the injury, I don't know if you could have predicted that. That's why it's about consistency in fantasy. And it's easier to pick guys and put them in your lineup when they're consistent. But when they've had a bad game or two, or they're coming off an injury, it's a little risky to be like, well, I'm going to put this guy in here, especially if you have another option that you feel that could be better. And, when the guy on the bench ends up scoring more than your starter, it makes you fucking sick. Trust me, I know. But even if I ended up having Zach Moss in the game, him splitting carries with Chase Brown isn't really ideal either. Burrow takes off. Go, baby, go. Tiger King. First down, Bengals. Move the chains. Okay, baby. And I got all 3 games on at the same time, and I don't think we're having any kind of lag whatsoever, so that's a good sign. Cool kid in the building. Finley in the building. What's good? But anytime you end up having your teams lose and you lose in fantasy, man, I feel for those people. I have a lot of sympathy and empathy, especially if you care passionately about your teams like Elliot and myself and a lot of the people in the room. It's not a good feeling, when you end up having the trifecta in losses, But one thing, for me, even though the Bucs win against the Saints was good, it wasn't against Carr. It was against Spencer Rattler, so we should have won that game. But we did put up 50-plus points since the first time since 2019 with Jameis Winston, so that was kind of cool. But really the big thing for me this weekend is the Oregon Ducks beating Ohio State, but then we get snubbed, and we're not even number 1 in the country. They have us as number 2. What kind of bullshit is that? We should be number 1. Texas should be number 2. They beat Oklahoma, who's just like a jobber team. We ended up beating one of the best teams in the country, even though it was only by 1. Oregon deserves to be 1, Texas 2, Ohio State 3. Tell me I'm wrong. That was an amazing game last night, and the crowd was definitely the difference. And, that was probably one of the best wins that I have ever, either watched in person or on TV. The best win at Autzen ever. And, we should be the number 1 team, and, we'll see where it goes. We might see Ohio State in the playoff, down the road, but it definitely feels good to be king of the Big Ten, especially when we're a Pac-12 team. Floater and complete. Walltown in the building. What's good? Well, again, you guys have some injuries and you guys aren't full strength. What do you expect? Do you expect just to be able to beat the Falcons and beat the Bucs when you're missing out on, key pieces on the offense and defense? Don't have your starting center in Ruiz. You don't have Carr. Defensive players are banged up. You can't expect to be able to put on your best performance when you're not full strength. When we were injured with no Vita Vea and no Antoine Winfield Jr., we fucking lost to the Broncos. So, anything can happen. Anybody can beat anyone, especially if you're injured. So, he coughed it up. It's 12 noon. You know what time it is. Time for a sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. But I do agree, with Dennis Allen. That's not the right coach. He's a coordinator, and I could have told you that a couple years ago. He's not the right guy. Even if Carr was there, Ruiz was there, all your players are healthy. Nice sack lunch there by the Giants. No Kayvon Thibodeau in the lineup, obviously on IR, having some minor surgery, trying to heal up. And shout out to Aiden Hutchinson. Looks like he broke his leg, and that's definitely going to affect the chances of the Lions making the Super Bowl if they don't have their best defender on the field. Shout out to him, and hopefully that he'll end up getting healthy. But it definitely opens the door for every other team in the NFC, since they're not going to have their best defensive player for the rest of the year. But I definitely agree, DA needs to go. But you can't fire him right now, not in the middle of the season. You got to wait till the end. So. Captain Oreo, that doesn't fucking matter. Get the fuck out of here, bro. If it was Washington, I would be saying Washington deserves to be in first place. It doesn't matter. It's about, at this point in moment, if one team is number 2 and one team is number 3, and regardless if Texas is 1 and they played Oklahoma, you're telling me that Texas is more deserving based off this week? It's a week-to-week ranking. It's not based on what you've done throughout to this point. It's week to week. You win, you move up. You lose, you go down. Okay? What matchup is bigger? Texas and Oklahoma, Oregon, Ohio State. Don't be sour just because the Huskies lost and you have to be a hater. Come on, Captain Oreo. You're going to get your first dub in fantasy, so you should be able to be okay. But if Washington was in that same scenario, go. Touchdown, Bengals. But if Washington was in that same scenario and you guys were 3 and Ohio State was 2 and you won, I would say that you guys deserve to be in first place. That's a bunch of bullshit, all right? They should be in first. It's not about what they did before. It's about what you did this week. Week to week, my guy. Come on. Oregon is deserving of the number 1 rank, even if it's only for a week. You know, that was one of the best matchups of the year besides Georgia and Bama. And remember, Oregon only had a 36% chance to win. 36. You know, no one gave us a shot. Again, they didn't give us a shot a couple years ago when we had no Kayvon Thibodeau when we went to the shoe, okay? And let's be real. Ohio State, if they played Texas, they would probably beat them. You know, Texas is good, but are they that much better, you know, than the other teams in the top 5? We'll find out as the year goes on. But obviously, college football is up for grabs. You know, Alabama isn't as good. Georgia isn't as good. And obviously, it feels like the number 1 spot isn't going to keep their spot for that long. You might have it for a couple weeks until someone beats that team, and then you have to move down. So, you know, for us to be number 2 is bullshit. You know, in any team in that scenario, it doesn't matter who it is. If a number 2 and a number 3 play and a number 3 wins, okay, that team deserves to get leapfrogged and go to 1, and Texas can go to 2. You know, they've already been in the number 1 spot for a few weeks, but obviously Oklahoma is not the same level as Ohio State. Week to week. You know, for you to say that, it's like a hater comment, you know, like you can't give me my flowers. Like I gave you guys your flowers, letting you guys know how much I love Michael Penix Jr. and the Huskies. Why can't you guys give us our flowers? You know, are you guys that jaded as a fan base that you guys can't give us the love? I mean, I root for USC. I root for Washington. I root for UCLA. I root for Oregon State. I root for Wazoo. I mean, I root for everyone unless they're playing us. You know, because I want to make sure the Pac-12 gets represented properly. But anyone that says that we don't deserve to be number 1, you obviously didn't watch the game or you're a hater. Facts. Come on, my guy. They deserve to be number 1. I mean, again, and who knows how long we would be able to keep that ranking. It'd probably only be for a little bit, and we might end up losing to a team much lower than us. You know, go figure. You don't really know how long you're going to be able to keep that. But I think, you know, with everything that was done, you know, last night, we definitely deserve to be able to have that feeling, even if it's only for a week, to be like, you know what? No one gave us a shot. We were very shitty at the beginning of the year, and then we ended up playing like that and winning a game. You know, like just that alone, that we played so bad at the beginning of the year and then able to play at that high level with one of the best teams in the country that might end up winning the Natty when it's all said and done, Ohio State, you know? Come on, my guy. Don't be a hater. See, Zay understands. He already knows. Come on, my guy. It doesn't matter about next week. We don't give a shit about next week. Texas playing Georgia next week. We're talking about this week, about the ranking. All right? Come on, Captain Oreo. Just because you guys got blasted by Iowa by 1 billion, okay, and you're jaded and you're angry, all right, with how things are going with the Hawks and with the Huskies, doesn't mean you got to shit on Oregon's parade, all right? I get it. It's frustrating when you end up losing games with your favorite teams, but the last thing you need to do is be a hater and not give us the credit where we deserve. You know, we could have easily lost that game. We left 7 points on the board, and we had that botched snap. Right, we ended up having a missed field goal, and we ended up going for it on 4th down and getting nothing. So essentially, Oregon should have lost. When you leave points on the board, you lose 99% of the time. And that 1% time was yesterday, and we ended up winning by 1 fucking point. And, you know, if obviously, you know, Will ended up going down with a second earlier too, if they would have kicked the field goal, we would have lost. Plain and simple, we would have lost last night if a field goal attempt would have been put down, period. So, you know, we'll end up taking, you know, the mistake there. There we go, Dodgers. 2-0 LA. 7-0 Bengals. First down. Giants. Move the chains. Storm Bum with a tour. Hey, if you wanna, have me cook, I can start cooking anybody, regardless of who you are. All right. I always keep it non-biased. I give credit where credit is due. But it just seems like individuals have a hard time giving credit to other individuals, teams, and players when something good happens. I mean, hell, if I can do it, anyone else can do it. But again, some people are more biased than others. But at least give us our flowers. That was like literally the biggest win in our team history, like one of the biggest, And not to be able to reward us with the #1 ranking for at least a week or two is a bunch of bullshit. Again, it's week to week. It's not what you did up to this point. That's a hater comment. It makes it even more impressive that we played so bad at the beginning of the year and we were able to win that game. You got to understand, no one gave us a shot 3-4 years ago. We had no Kayvon Thibodeau and we won. So there's a perception that Pac-12 teams can't win. Okay. But we obviously continue to prove that we can. And obviously Ryan Day, we know he's a good coach, but he chokes. Okay, you actually look at his record against top teams. So again, there's going to be the Georgia, Bama, Texas, Ohio State bias. But at the end of the day, there can be also another team on the outside that can play just as good, right? Or end up playing a little bit better and getting the dub. So, again, we're just talking about a week, You guys are so fucking jaded over a ranking for fucking a week. It's not like I'm saying that Oregon is the best team overall and we're going to be, and we're going to win the Natty. I just think that we deserve to be in that spot for 1 week based on what we did. And if you can't give us credit for that, then you're a hater. Facts. Because anyone else that was 3 beating a 2, I would give you credit. I'd be like, yeah, you guys do deserve to be in the top spot. But again, people are biased and that's how you guys' brains fucking work. 4th down and 3, 7-0 Bengals. Go, baby, go. Bounce it to the outside. Short gain. Okay, but if Washington was 3 and you guys had an amazing team like you did last year and you beat Ohio State and they look like they might be able to win it all this year, and then you ended up not being #1, you wouldn't have a problem with that? Tell me I'm wrong. Because you would definitely feel that you deserve, if you have Michael Penix Jr. and you got Rome Odunze and you got Jalen McMillan and you got Devin Culp and you got all these amazing players and it looks like you guys are going to be one of the best in the nation. And then you guys end up beating Ohio State, right? If you guys were in our role and then you didn't get #1, you're telling me that you wouldn't be upset or thinking that you got screwed over a little bit. And again, we're not asking to keep the ranking up there for weeks and weeks and weeks. All we're saying is that we deserve to be #1 for 1 week. And then we can go from there. And then after that, if we end up losing, we go down. Or if someone else ends up having a better matchup and Texas ends up, beating a high-ranked opponent like a Georgia, and then they leapfrog us the next week, fine. But we deserve to be able to have that recognition for fucking 1 week. And to act like we're not deserving of recognition for 1 fucking week? I mean, how pathetic is that? That you guys have to be such haters that you can't give us credit for a week? Not even the season. A week? You can't give us credit for a week? Like that didn't even mean anything? Like Ohio State, it's like you guys are acting like we played Ohio, not Ohio State. Come on, man. Ridiculous. Come on, Captain. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, a little cactus jack, bang, bang. Come on, my guy. Because I'm right. Because if you were in the same position as us, and this was last year, and Washington was 3 and Ohio State was 2, and you've never been able to really beat them that often, and then you end up winning by 1 point in a dramatic fashion type of win, based on the team that you had last year, and then all of a sudden they put you at 2, you would be okay with that? Bullshit. You wouldn't be okay with that. Tell me I'm wrong. Everyone deserves to be able to be at the top, especially if you have 2 and 3 play each other. Okay? 1 week. That's all we're talking about. We're not talking about a month. We're not talking about the rest of the season. Oregon is not good enough to more than likely even get deep enough into the playoff to even play for the Natty, but we're talking about one fucking week, dude. The bias against the Pac-12 is fucking real. Just like those officials, obviously, in the Big Ten, right? We ended up having a clear interception that wasn't even reviewed. Lots of bullshit that goes on that we have to go against. And you should already understand that, being a Pac-12 fan and understanding what it's like. The hate that goes against the Pac-12 and the West Coast teams is real. Okay, it's not something that we just make up for fun. We get fucking ripped off all the time. Handoff. Good defense there by the Giants. Bengals 7, Giants 0. Dodgers up 2-0 on the Mets. And we got a good one here with the Kraken and the Stars. You just got to put yourself in our shoes, though. Especially as a Husky fan, you should understand you guys were very good last year. Hell, I like Michael Penix Jr. more than Bo Nix last year. I'm not biased. I call it how I see it on every single sport, regardless if it's my team or not. But anyone that's been sitting at number 3, beating a number 2, and they don't go to number 1, that's a bunch of horse shit. Come on, Kraken. And let me know what you want to do for photos, Stormbum and Captain. I got you. Shotgun set. Burrow. Pressure. Oh, baby. Oh, my. It's almost like that defender let go, and he could have just pounded his ass into the ground there. Crazy, too, because they don't even have Kayvon Thibodeau either. Good defense there by the Giants. And just like with Georgia, like Matt says, if and you guys were talking, like, let's say Georgia and Texas play, right? So if Georgia and they end up, they're 5, and they play Texas at 1, and if Georgia ended up leapfrogging Oregon to number 1, so be it. You know what I mean? Like I said, even though they're 5, but if they beat the number 1 team, beating a ranked team that week means something, or at least it's supposed to, Like, let's be real, Oklahoma isn't good, Like, that's an easy win for Texas. And remember, everyone gave us a 0% chance to be able to win the Big Ten. Ohio State, anybody but you guys. You guys are the outsiders, And again, even though it was only by 1 point and we shot ourselves in the foot a few times, at the end of the day, we won, okay? And no one can ever take that away from us. We won. We won in the shoe. We won in Autzen. We own Ohio State in the last 2 matchups. Okay. And I'm not saying that we're going to win and beat them forever, because we already know and respect how good they are. Okay. But, if you get a ranked opponent and a ranked opponent, give that other team the due that they deserve. 7-0 Bengals, 2-0 Dodgers, 2-0 Stars. Come on, Kraken. Yeah, I can do that. What do you want from Peyton Manning? You want Peyton Manning like at Tennessee? You want Peyton Manning on the Colts? You want Peyton Manning in the Broncos? Let me know what type of Peyton Manning you want, and I got you. And then, Captain, you let me know who you want for photos, and I got you as well. I just think that, most people are like incredibly biased, even though they don't realize it. If you notice with sports fans and how often people argue and they have these horrible opinions on the TV shows, right? And anyone that says anything, it's always taken as like a negative, like it's an instigation of a fight, but not everyone is that way, including myself. Again, we talk about facts. and we just want to, lay it out there that this is how it is, right? But sometimes people take it too personal. They take their teams too personal. They take their players too personal. And even when it's not meant to be an attack on another player or team, everyone gets so fucking, offensive, defensive, that it's like, oh, they're trying to start an argument or they're talking shit about my team or my players. But on this channel, it's not like that. But if you go to other channels and you go to, other conversations with other people, it ends up being negative 99% of the time. This is like the one spot where we just kind of call it how we see it, and again, I just don't think people really realize, how deep they are with their teams and their players, whether they think they're not biased or not. But I'll tell you one thing, based off, bias and obviously having that favoritism, you're not going to find another channel that will give the opponent or other teams more love than here. Name another channel that gives more honest love and genuine praise for the other teams and the rivals in this channel. You're not going to find one, And again, we don't say it to be different. We say it because that's how we honestly feel. Facts. All right, you want him on the Colts? Okay, I got you. Toby in the building. What's good? Tracy with the handoff. Good defense there by the Bengals. All right, let me get a couple photos loaded up here. Jones, little screen pass, incomplete. I just feel like a lot of people have a hard time putting themselves in other people's shoes, and I feel like with me, I have more of a female brain than a male brain. I have a lot more empathy and sympathy for people when they're going through it. And if you can understand what it's like to walk in someone else's shoes, you're going to be able to have better understanding of how people are in life. But if you only want to see things from your point of view, it's a very closed outlook. You're only looking, like this instead of looking at the big picture and looking at other, types of opinions and what's going on, and less having your, tunnel vision on only what you think, and I think that a lot of people are kind of in that boat, whether they realize it or not. First down. Holding there on Turner. Get a couple of these Peytons up here. We need a better Peyton than the other one here. Let me see what else we got. Wan'Dale Robinson with the short game. (7-0) Bengals. That's the guy right there, baby. See if I can get one more there. Tracy with the short game. Got to get one with him and the coach. My guy, TG, Tony Dungy, baby. Let's go. I miss this duo. I miss Tony on the Bucks, but I miss Tony on the Colts. I mean, good for them to be able to get Dungy and, get Peyton a ring, even though they should have had probably a couple. 3-0 Dodgers. Mets have 0% chance. They might win a game or two, but they're not beating the Dodgers. Slayton, first down, Giants. Fucking terrible. I've made the playoffs every year that I've done fantasy. I've never finished worse than third. Right now, I am not in a good position to probably make the playoffs unless CMC, Cooper Kupp, and Nick Chubb can play, and they can play healthy and good quality ball for me. But it's not going well at all. This will be probably the first season that I don't make the playoffs. And then I'm going to try like hell to get into fourth place to be that last team. But a lot of stuff is going to have to go my way. And again, injuries and guys underperforming. I've already made like 1 billion moves. I'm almost at like 80, 90 moves on the wire because I've had to make up for some of the injuries, but it's going terrible, but again, I'm just trying to do the best that I can while I wait for some of my guys to get healthy. But one thing is for damn sure, I'll never pick Christian McCaffrey or Cooper Kupp in fantasy ever again. That's facts. I got you. But you got to understand where I'm coming from. If the Huskies were 3 and you beat Ohio State and they were 2, right? And you didn't end up being number 1, you would have a problem with it. And to say that you wouldn't would be a goddamn lie. Because especially as good as you guys were last year, you guys made the goddamn natty, We just want the Pac-12 teams to get the respect like everyone else. There's always going to be an SEC Big Ten bias. But again, it doesn't even really feel like we're a part of the Big Ten. We're like a visitor. No one still really believes that, we're as good as we are. And we played like shit at the beginning of the year, but that should make it even more impressive that we could have looked like a team that won maybe 7-5 this year if we continue to play like we did in the first 2 weeks. But then to be able to ramp it up, make the adjustments and to beat a team a caliber of Ohio State, even if it was only by 1, that was impressive. Intercepted. Go, baby, go. Go, baby, go. Go, big man. There you go. First down. Bengals with the pick. I feel with Daniel Jones, he does some things pretty good, and then he does some things really, really bad. He doesn't have Malik Neighbors out there. You don't have Devin Singletary out there, so that definitely is big losses, right? Your offensive line isn't the greatest. You don't got Kayvon Thibodeau on the other side to help you. I feel that Daniel Jones is a good runner, of the football, especially if they put him in a good position to succeed off like RPOs and designed runs. But as far as like a thrower, no, he's terrible. Again, he has good options, with Slayton and obviously Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Neighbors when they're healthy, but again, no Saquon Barkley. Devin Singletary is the replacement. He got hurt. Now they have Tracy in there. But, I even feel if they had a better offensive line and a better defense, Daniel Jones is always going to be kind of below average. Now, will he score in fantasy, 16, 17, 18 points here and there? Yeah, he can end up doing that. But I don't think anyone feels comfortable with him as their fantasy quarterback, let alone no one would really want Daniel Jones as their own quarterback. If you were a fan of another team, nobody is saying, oh my God, can we please sign Daniel Jones? Said no one ever, So I think most people would rather go for a rookie or, a different type of player, even a Joe Flacco, a backup over a Daniel Jones. So, and I don't really think that Daniel Jones is really going to get that much better. But I'll say this. If Daniel Jones ended up going to the San Francisco 49ers, he would be more successful than he is obviously now in a Kyle Shanahan type of system. He wouldn't be as good as Brock Purdy, but you would see an elevated version of Daniel Jones where you would say, you know what? He's obviously a system guy, but he looks better than he did on the Giants, and he would actually be able to look, pretty good. I'm not saying he'd be a top 10 quarterback, but instead of being, a top 25 or maybe a bottom 5, bottom 10 quarterback, maybe on a good team, Daniel Jones could end up being like, 15th, 16th. And I don't think that's a stretch to say. So we'll see where it goes. I'm going to try to get some Jonah Coleman's up here. Little screen pass. Ooh, baby. First down, Bengals. Move the chains. Handoff up the gut. And they got a nice 1-2 combo with Chase Brown and Zach Moss. I mean, it's not, Joe Mixon whatsoever, but, obviously having two guys try to be to be that particular player.
High school, they left home, moved to Florida, living with a host family to pursue their dream of playing in the NFL. He said it has been incredible to do that with his best friend. They don't go a day without talking to each other. And
I'll get you a few more once we end up getting into a commercial break here. I appreciate you. Tipped and complete. I just want to be able to represent, for our conference, regardless of who's there, that understand that, we're always going to be little brother, and even when we win games, they try to act like we're little brother, like we didn't do it. It's just so ridiculous when you just can't even get credit where credit's due, or even when Washington made the Natty, and they played Michigan, but people were downplaying it. Like, Michael Penix Jr. really wasn't that good, or the team really wasn't that good. And obviously that tells me that they didn't watch any games of the Pac-12 or of Washington last year, because they were very, very deserving. And I just want to make sure that regardless if it's USC or Washington or UCLA or Oregon or any other teams that end up joining the Big Ten, it shows you, we would rather be in the Pac-12 anyways. It's not like we want to be in the fucking Big Ten with their shitty ass officiating and their fucking biased fans, but again, that's what happened. The Pac-12 commissioners got greedy. They wanted more money for the TV deals. They said, fuck you. And then we got, bought out, and then we had to move. So kind of out of our control, and only the best of the best were selected. And then, except for, maybe UCLA, they just brought them over with the rivalry with USC, but probably bringing Utah over would have been better than UCLA. Tell me I'm wrong. But, I just want to make sure that teams get the proper recognition, and it's tough to be able to give a rival team, a rival player recognition, but then it really shows that, you appreciate greatness. Even though we had Bo Nix, I like Michael Penix Jr. more. I might be the only Oregon Duck fan that would admit that, but it was the truth, Third down and 3, 7-0 Bengals. All right, talk soon. Yeah, I saw. I always notice what everyone does on the wire. And obviously, if his snap count is going to go down, nice tackle by the Giants. But if his snap count is going to go down, even though he's the top receiver, really the only value Pickens is going to have is if Russell Wilson ends up being quarterback and actually gets him the ball like he got Cortland Sutton the ball last year on Denver. But if it's Justin Fields, he's just not really that good of a thrower. He's more of a runner. And again, if Pickens is going to take plays off and he's going to end up getting benched, then it's kind of hard to be able to roster a guy like that. So I agree with your decision to drop him. I would have tried to find another receiver or another player to add. Now, is there going to be games where Pickens plays well and scores, 10 to 16 points? Yes. Is he capable of getting 20 to 30 once or twice a season? Yes. But with the quarterback that they have right now, and with the way that he's playing with his ego and, taking plays off, and he obviously got punished for it, it's definitely not a piece that I think I would feel comfortable rostering on my team either, because if you end up starting a guy like that, you might get 15 points or you might get 5. Do you really want to risk that? Especially when you're trying to get into the W column. You can't. So, you're kind of where I'm at. We're at the bottom and we're trying to climb to the top. The last thing we want to do is play around and try to be able to take a risk. Now, if you're like Shep or Reflect and you're in first or second place, you can take a risk and you can have Pickens on the bench, or if you want to start him, fuck it, but when you've been struggling like you and me, sometimes you got to make tough decisions and you got to move on, and as long as you get someone capable as a replacement in any other position that will help you, then it's going to be a beneficial move for you. So because I considered picking him up, but after, watching the film, reading all the stat lines and all the reports about, what's going on there in Pittsburgh, I feel that, releasing him, someone might, pick him up. But also if you, want to like look at it, it's not like anyone picked him up, off the wire, immediately after you dropped him. And even after hours passed, no one picked him up. So I think a lot of people are kind of in that same boat where, they understand that he's a pretty good talent, and he can get 10 to 16 points. He did 3 out of 5 times, but the other 2 were like 5 and 6. So it's like, getting 5 or 6 points ain't going to fucking cut it in fantasy. Especially if you end up starting him and you get 5 or 6, you could end up losing. So. And there's not very many other photos that are pulling up, so I'll have to pull up an old school one here for you. For whatever reason, Husky photos are they just don't want to convert for whatever reason. All right, Bengals with the punt. Yeah, it's like I went through like 15 to 20 photos and only like 2 or 3 converted, so some of them don't want to convert over, unfortunately. But if you got someone else that you want to be able to see from any of your other teams, or even on the Huskies, just give me another name and I'll see what I can do. No, I don't know. I think it was just kind of a fluke game. He's like third string running back, and then obviously Rachaad White was injured and he was out, and they had Bucky Irving and Sean Tucker. When you end up getting a big performance out of a guy that's third string running back, we would assume at some point Rachaad White will be back, but Rachaad White hasn't pplayed good football this year. He's only been averaging about 2 yards per carry. Bucky Irving is much better. First down. Giants, Daniel Jones, move the chains. But, we'll see. If Rachaad White is still out, then, maybe Sean Tucker, depending on what you have available on your bench, if you have room, you might want to consider it. But that's not someone that I would be picking on my team, but, you can do whatever you want to do on yours. But he did have an amazing game for us today. First time the Bucs put up 50 since 2019. First down and 10. Jones. Uh-oh, it's 12 noon. You know what time it is. Time for a Bengal sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. It's T-Rex, Trey Hendrickson, the former Saint, with the sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. Well, I don't know who's available on your wire. So that's kind of hard for me to be able to say, like, who's available and fantasy is week to week, so just because a guy did good one week, if he's got a tough matchup the next week, you can't even use him, even if he ends up being a superstar. I mean, look at Patrick Mahomes. He's arguably the best quarterback on planet Earth, or one of them, but if you look at fantasy, he's been terrible the last 2 years. I mean, he's not even rostered in a lot of leagues anymore. So, just because you have, Andy Reid and Travis Kelce and, and they've been, winning Super Bowls and whatnot, for fantasy purposes, Mahomes has not been good. So if you're doing it based off name recognition, you're fucked. You got to really dig deeper, based on just popularity of player. You have to actually look at the stat line and see who they're playing. Third down and 8. 3-0 Dodgers. Incomplete. $18 is a shitload, bro. What you smoking on? There's quarterbacks sometimes that only end up getting 5 points in fantasy for the week, like 5 to 9. So if you end up getting 18 in fantasy, that's actually pretty fucking good considering quarterback numbers usually are a little bit lower this year than normal, as well as tight end numbers. I mean, obviously, there are quarterbacks that get over 20, yeah, but not as often as they did in years past. So if you're getting close to 20, that's pretty good. You know, like I said, there's a lot of guys that, you know, and girls that end up rostering players that they start and they assume they're going to get 20 to 30 points. And a lot of times they'll get 5 to 10. You know, every once in a while you'll have an average game of, maybe 15 or 16. But, you're not really feeling good in fantasy unless you're getting like 17 or more. You get 17 or more, I feel that most people can live with that. You obviously want 20 to 30 if you can get there. But, 17, you still feel like, okay, 17 and up, that's at least I've got 17. But if you get under 17, like 15 and 16 is like an average game. You can't get too mad about it, but, it could be worse. But then once you go below that number, then you're kind of fucked. So. Yeah. Like, and the thing is no one could have predicted that the Saints and Buck game was going to have so many fucking wild plays and the Bucks were going to score 50. Even with Spencer Rattler out there, like, I had Mike Evans and I benched him because I know Marshawn Lattimore usually shadows him. And in the 12 matchups, he hasn't hit double-digit points in a couple years. So sometimes you got to look at past history of games and always history can be broken. And, it could have been possible that Mike Evans had a big game, but did he? No, he didn't. So, sometimes you got to dig a little bit deeper, but even when you do the research, sometimes the opposite happens. I mean, it's fantasy. It's unpredictable. Sometimes guys will hit their projected numbers. Sometimes guys will underperform and shit the bed, or if you get a guy hurt, halfway in the game, you normally lose your fantasy week because if you end up getting an injury, it usually crushes you like it did with me. So. Well, it sounds like you need to have a better team then, Toby. You got to do more research. I mean, if you didn't draft well, again, if you have to have a good draft. If you're in a 10-man league and if you're not in the top 5 in the draft, you have no chance of making the playoffs and winning. It's very rare, and then you have to obviously continuously hit the wire and make your team better. I mean, I always hit the wire heavy, regardless if I'm undefeated, or if I'm going to be fucking 2-4, which is, unseen territory for me, but I've already made 83 moves, and that's probably more moves than anybody in any other league on planet Earth. So, I always have to be able to, look week to week. What are the best matchups week to week? And definitely there's some players that are undroppable, right? But sometimes you got to be able to make moves if you want to get better. Shotgun set. Burrow. Plenty of time back there. Pump fake. Scrambling. Gambling. And complete. Like in this particular game, everyone assumes the Bengals are going to blow out the Giants. The Bengals only have one fucking win, and they're on the road. So even though they don't have Kayvon Thibodeau, they don't have Malik Neighbors, they don't have Devin Singletary, they don't have any points on the board yet, but the defense is playing better than anticipated, right? Not saying the Giants are going to win, but sometimes playing in front of that home crowd can give you that extra juice, and you might be able to make some plays that you normally wouldn't be able to make if you were on the road. I mean, both of these teams are dog shit, right? They're not good this year, but obviously we've seen the Bengals finally start to heat up with Burrow and Chase, but with no Kayvon Thibodeau, out there, it's pretty amazing that they're being able to run down Burrow as successful as they are tonight, because it feels like Thibodeau's out there, even though he's not. Ooh, big hit. Yeah, we talked earlier this morning, and again, I ended up, hell, I had to start fucking Caleb Williams last week, Joe Flacco. That shows you like how I'm really trying to work, the wire and the positions, and I really thought I had a good chance to win this week, but again, I kind of got shafted on that Bo Nix, Troy Franklin, or the Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton touchdown. That wasn't a touchdown, because if that didn't happen, I think I would have beat maybe Matt by a point. But, it is what it is. He ended up scoring more points. I lost, and that's how it is. But sometimes the calls are going to go your way, and sometimes they're not. So she's got a very good team as well. But Matt got the dub. Zini's projected to win. 151 to 143. And obviously Reflect is done, and it just depends if Burrow and Chase link up today, and then if Cook actually plays tomorrow. And if they all play, then she might be able to get there, but it'll probably go down to the wire. And then you're going to finally get off your 4-week-in-a-row schneid, and you're going to get in the dub column against Megan. And then obviously Chief beat Sarah, and Shep beat Elliot. And and that's where we're at, until we get into next week. No bots. There's a no bot zone. No bot zone. No bot zone. Bottom of the third, 3-0 Dodgers. But if Cook cooks, and if Burrow and Chase can get connected here, for a couple times, there'll be a decent shot. But it's very clear right now, it's Reflect and Shep at the top, and then there's going to be 4 other people fighting for 2 spots the rest of the year. It just depends, if we can climb up to be one of those, teams, but when you're at the bottom, it's tough, especially if you have key injuries to guys. So. But it shows you, like, you have to have a good draft. You have to have good depth, and if you only have a couple pieces at a position, like 2 running backs or 2 wide receivers, you're fucked. Because the thing is, as soon as those guys get hurt, and if you don't have any good players in the bench, then you're just reaching on the wire for guys that you hope that can get to 10, and a lot of times they don't, and they get to like 4 or 5, and then you're fucked. So you always want to make sure you have plenty of depth with really good players at every position. Otherwise you're gonna, if you're gonna test fantasy will test you back, and then injuries will happen, and then you'll be looking at your team and it looks like shit because you don't have the proper depth. And obviously you look at some of the other teams in the league on how they're built, and you have to be very active on the wire week in and week out. If you leave shit on the bench and you just leave it there, you'll figure out real quick. Especially when injuries happen, that you'll start sliding in the standings for sure. 3rd down and 3. Shotgun set. Jones. Run, baby, run. And that's one thing Daniel Jones is pretty good at, is running the football. Might be the best thing that he's actually at. Is he's a better runner than a thrower, kind of like Justin Fields. 1st down, Giants. 6 more to 20. Let's get there, baby. No, the way that my season is gone, I would assume you'll beat me. Like I said, I make the most moves. I try to be strategic. But again, I just, my top tier players not playing. And then also, having guys like Jordan Mason get hurt, early in the game, fuck me. James Conner getting 6 points, fuck me. Tolbert only getting to 8, fuck me. Like, Denver D only getting 2, fuck me. Like, that's just what happens. I didn't really leave any points on the bench. Moss is at a 2. Kirk was at a 6. Mike Evans was at a 5. So I put in the best lineup, and that's all you can do. You can only put in your best players, and you just got to hope that they, even if it's a green matchup, or if you look at the projections and it says 25% positive and then 20%, underachieve. And usually if it's got a higher percentage to, succeed, Usually for the projected, you feel a little bit more comfortable. But just because it says, oh, this particular player has a good projection, 28% boom, 13% bust, doesn't mean that it's always going to happen. Jones going deep, one-on-one, incomplete. So you got to be careful, looking at green, neutral, red, and also looking at the boom and the bust, numbers. Because just because it says boom 28% and bust 13, and you're like, oh, he's for sure going to score. And that's not always the case. So, I hope I beat you next week. I was really hoping to beat Matt this week, to be honest, because, again, I just need to get dubs after digging myself into a hole like you did too. So, but we'll see how it goes. We'll look at matchups. I got some really good matchups next week. Most of my matchups are green next week, so we'll see what happens. But even though they're green, doesn't mean shit. So, Jones, flag on the play. I'm just sick and tired of losing. And I know you are too, but at least you're off the schneid now. I had a 3-game losing streak. You had a 4-game losing streak. Nobody deserves to have a 3 or 4-game losing streak, especially if we're only playing 14 fucking weeks. And then we have 1 week for the playoffs. And then the next week would be the championship. So there's only 2 weeks for playoffs. But in previous 7 years, we used to do 14 weeks and then best of 2 weeks, best of 2 weeks. And I might go back to that format because obviously when you have injuries, 14 weeks might not be good enough. But if you have best of 2 weeks, and you make the playoffs, then you have maybe a little bit better chance to recover if things aren't, going your way. So, but this is the first year where we've only done, playoffs for 2 weeks instead of playoffs for 4 weeks. We'll see how it works out, but it definitely isn't helping me this year. Good defense there. Third down and 15. Shotgun set. Jones steps up in the pocket. Scrambling. Gambling. Take off, baby. There you go. Takes a big hit. Dodgers 3, Mets 0. Tomorrow we got Mets, Dodgers, Guardians, and Yankees. We got both matchups tomorrow. And then we have obviously Bills, Jets on Monday Night Football. And then on Tuesday, we'll do Guardians and Yankees at 4:30. And on Wednesday, we'll do Dodgers Mets at 5. And then Thursday, we'll do Thursday Night Football, which I haven't even peeked ahead. Thursday Night Football will be Broncos Saints. Not the most ideal matchup, but, it is what it is. Yeah, I had Caleb Williams on fantasy as well. He scored the most points out of any quarterback this week, I believe. So, but it still wasn't good enough for me to win, unfortunately. But again, when you end up playing a player like that has actually been a little bit better, within the last few weeks, and he ended up playing the worst defense in football. The game was in London, but it didn't matter. And, he ended up having 4 touchdown passes. And if you get a green 32 matchup, sometimes you can feel confident, even if it's a Caleb Williams, that he would end up scoring, 15 to 30. And that's exactly what he did. So, matchups matter. If you got red 1, you don't play that matchup. You see a green 32, it might not work out to your liking, but you'll probably get more points with a green 32 than, other matchups there, as long as the player is somewhat capable. So, and with the way that Caleb has been playing, I'll probably keep him. I got Sam Darnold as my main, and I had to, look for a backup and whatnot, but, it's not like the most ideal person for me, but again, if he keeps playing the way that he has in the 3 out of the last 4 weeks, he'll be worth keeping on the bench, and I might be able to start him, a couple times, later on in the season if I decide to keep him. So. Bengals 7, Giants 0. 6:19 left in the second quarter. And shout out to Kyle Larson for winning the Charlotte road course today. He led 62 laps, got 48 points. Christopher Bell in second, William Byron third, Austin Cindric fourth, and Napa Know-How Chase Elliott in fifth. 300 drivers in the top 5. I didn't get a chance to watch a good chunk of it, so hopefully there'll be a replay on so I can watch it. Iowa and Michigan State. All right, Bengals, your turn. See what they can do here. Burrow, hands off. Chase Brown. And that's kind of another thing, too. It's like, when you have Chase Brown or Zach Moss in fantasy, because typically people don't have both. When you have a running back by committee and it's split right down the middle, you might end up getting, 14 points each, with each running back. But also there might be one running back that ends up having that 20-point game, and then the other ends up having like 5 to 8. And that's kind of the situation that you have to be very careful in. Even when the matchup is good, you just don't really know how they're going to distribute the carries. And that's why I usually don't like having, people on my roster that are split like that. But, T. Higgins, first down, Bengals. Great yak yards after the catch there by T. Higgins. 23-yard gain for T. Yeah, Cowboys look like shit. Let's be honest. They were very, very good at home last year, and they've been behind by like 15 points, like at halftime or like late in games, like every single game this season. Like they are, they're the Cowboys, and again, they have some injuries, on the defense as well, like Micah Parsons on and off, DeMarcus Lawrence, here and there. But again, they're just not as efficient. They don't have a running game. Offensive line stinks. And again, if Dak doesn't have time to go to CD, you don't have Brandon Cooks playing, it's just the offense, it just doesn't look smooth out there. Again, they might beat the Dallas Cowboys, but, there's not a whole lot of value there fantasy-wise unless it's like CD Lamb, really. Yeah, and I'll do some reaction videos tomorrow before we end up doing the Bills and the Jets. I was going to do it today, but I was too focused on NFL Red Zone and hanging out with Paisley and watching the games and whatnot. So, but I'll do Bucks and Saints. I'll do definitely Commanders and Ravens for Lamar and Jaden Daniels. And then I'll decide if I end up doing another matchup before we end up doing the football. Yeah, Commanders look good. I mean, it looks like it's going to either be the Commanders or the Eagles. And obviously, I think the Commanders are a better team than the Eagles this year. But again, if they can get A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith healthy with Jalen and the defense can play slightly better, they might be able to catch up. Incomplete. But not very many teams are going to be able to beat the Ravens. It's like they got fucking King Henry there, and they got Zay, they got Lamar. They lost McDonald, and the defense is not as good as it was in years past, but the offense is a hell of a lot better. So no Autobots, no. Fuck out of here. But the Commanders are fun to watch for the very first time ever, right? Like they have been wanting desperately to have a franchise quarterback, and they finally got one. And and he's got more potential than Alex Smith. They've had Alex Smith, they had Mark Rippon, they had Joe Theismann. They've had some notable names, but it feels like this could end up being possibly the best quarterback of their franchise ever depending on if he stays with the franchise for 15 years, Jaden Daniels, it seems like he might be able to lead that team to a couple NFC East championships, and then maybe a couple wild cards, and maybe some NFC championship games in the future. We don't really know. They need obviously more offensive line, more defense, but if you're looking at them compared to the other teams in the NFC East, the Giants are terrible, the Cowboys are terrible, the Eagles are, I would say, average, average to above average, sometimes below average. And then the Commandos are the best team in that division by far. It's not even really close. So now if the Eagles defense steps up, then it'll be a 2-team race. But if the Eagle defense doesn't, then Washington will run away with that division. So, which is kind of a weird thing to say because normally they're not very good, but Jaden Daniels makes a big difference as well as the new head coach. Now we just need the Giants to get on the goddamn board. And hopefully tomorrow's game will be, better than a 7-0 in the second quarter in this one. But we'll do Bills Jets, then Guardians Yankees on Tuesday, and then we'll do Dodgers Mets on Wednesday. So we'll get a chance to do each, ALCS, NLCS, and then we'll go into I guess Broncos and Saints on Thursday. Man, the Kraken need a goal. Yeah, I got it on. Top of the fourth. Runners at first and second with 2 outs. Again, the Mets might win 1 game or 2, but everyone assumes that it'll be Dodgers in 5 or 6. Go! Go! Go, baby, go! Look at that speed. First down, Giants. That was beautiful. Slayton, and obviously Wan'Dale Robinson can get a lot of targets, and he's going to be that intermediate guy, and there's a flag, and so it's probably coming back. But Slayton has got that burner speed, and again, he did awesome last week, filling in for Malik Neighbors and obviously doing a good job again, but looks like it's coming back. Yeah, I just hope that we end up being better than last year, with the new coaching change and with some of the new additions, from, Montour and Stevenson and a few others. It's like, hopefully we have the right combination of guys and we can get, someone to stand out as the leader, and we get more scoring. And then obviously our goalies are a little bit better in net this year, but it kind of feels like within these first couple games, the struggles that we've had in net last year are continuing this year as well, with Gru and with Joey Decord. So at some point, we're going to have to find someone better than those two, even though we just gave Decord the extension and Gru is going to be here for a while too. But I mean, paying all that money for 2 guys that, give up 2, 3, 4, 5 goals a game ain't going to cut it, especially if we want to make the playoffs one day. So I like both of them, but I just don't know if they're going to cut it, to be, our goalies if we're going to make the playoffs, because they're just not as consistent as what we need. But I'm hoping that they'll turn it around. Yeah, I'm not really through like free agency, maybe like the draft in the next couple years or something, but and also playing in the West doesn't really do us a whole lot of favors either. I think Seattle would be much more successful in the East rather than the West. So that way we wouldn't have to play fucking Colorado and Dallas and Vegas. It's a good test to see where we're at. But I feel like the competition in the West is a little bit tougher than the East. East has some really good teams too, but I feel there's a little bit more wiggle room in the East than compared to the West. Tracy, short game. But I told you even last year, I didn't know if these guys were good enough, and going into this first couple games, it's not looking too good, but, we're still going to root for them, and hopefully things will get better. And if they're going to give up so many goals every game, then we need to make sure we're scoring goals, and we have more guys that are going to be on the offensive, to be able to get more points to make up for the goals that they give up. And, we're not really able to do that yet. So hopefully at one point or another, either the goalies get better or we just get better as a scoring as a team. And then that'll make up for some of the maybe goaltending woes that we have so far in these first few years.
Of users wish to started soon. So why talk to your doctor?
Effects of Botox spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away. Difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, or panic. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Chronic migraine will still keep you from being there. Why wait? Talk to your doctor about Botox and get in the picture. Learn how AbbVie can help you save.
Oh, you look like the type that hits a lot of curves.
Yeah, hopefully we get some more offense. I was hoping that we would get a little bit more on the defense or the special teams, but 7-0 ain't going to cut it, man. But again, I mean, we got a 2-3 team and a 1-4 team, so it's not like these teams have good records. Bottom of the fourth, 3-0 Dodgers. Let's go. Yeah, and just because, Burrow and Chase went off last week, doesn't mean they're going to do it every single week, especially being a 1-4 team. But there's still an opportunity in the second half that, we'll see. Fourth down and 7, the Giants with the punt. But we're in a good time of the year. We got NFL, we got college football. The NHL is already in full swing, right? We got, obviously, the NLCS and the ALCS for the MLB for baseball, NASCAR playoffs, so baseball is starting to wrap up, NASCAR is starting to wrap up, and then I guess if you care about the NBA and college hoops, that's going to be coming around the corner as well. Great time of year. Yeah, of course, man. I mean, we, I got an Oregon Duck win. I got a Tampa Bay Buccaneer win. You beat me in fantasy, so that was the one kind of down part of my weekend. But again, you beat me fair and square, and it's going to be very competitive in this league. 4-0 Dodgers. But yeah, I mean, let's be honest, for Oregon Duck fans like us, that was one of the biggest wins in our team history. No one gave us a shot. They said we only had a 36% shot to win, even though we were at home. And even though we only won by 1 point, that'll be a game that you remember for the rest of your life. And as I will also, that was a very, very special game. And the fans were the difference. It gave us that extra oomph that the players needed. And again, you're not always going to, win, with college and the NFL and in fantasy, if you care about it or not. But we both had really, really good weekends. Now, if I beat you in fantasy, then obviously it would be the trifecta for me. But the way that my year has gone in fantasy, it doesn't surprise me that I lost. So, it's just like, things haven't gone my way, even though I'm working really, really hard to try to get there. Back, all the way to the wall. Dodgers are raking right now. Wow. Oh, it's 12 noon. You know what time it is? Time for a sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. But also, too, I care about fantasy more than you do. It means everything to me. I put a lot of time and energy and effort, on it. So for some of the people in the league, they're just playing and they don't really care. But for me, it really matters a lot to me, and it does every year that I play. I don't play just to play. I play to fucking win the championship. So my mindset is more like a Tom Brady. I try to give my maximum effort on everything that I do in life. I don't just coast and say, fuck it, it does matter to me. But the Oregon Duck victory definitely is the most important thing for both of us this weekend. So. All right, Bengals are about to punt. We're having a fucking punt fest here. Maybe I should have did the Dodgers and the Mets game, but that's a blowout too. And I was going to say, if the Dodger game was the late game tomorrow, we could always consider doing that over Jets and Bills. But, Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Josh Allen, and, that's good enough for me to watch. I might be an NFC fan, but I enjoy AFC matchups, so... And it'll be a better game than this today, for sure. Yeah. But, out of all of those close games, normally we end up losing, almost every single time. So it kind of felt good to be on the winning end of a big, big game. For us, it's like we had to go through both of those Washington losses last year, and that shit fucking stung. That shit put me in a weird mood for a little bit, and it just kind of felt good to have a victory walk, with my Oregon sweats and my jacket and walking late at night with Paisley, and as well as this morning, and, seeing a lot of other people walking their dog and jogging with the duck gear on. It felt good, that we actually came out on top in a game that we easily could have lost. And that's a really damn good team in the Buckeyes. And it just, it feels good to be able to be on the winning side of things for once. All right, it's halftime in a barn burner, 7-0 Bengals. Man, Dodgers are just beating the shit out of the Mets. The Mets, I don't even know how the hell they got this far, because they're not even anywhere near the Dodger level. You might have been able to get to this point, but you're going to get your ass kicked, and that's exactly what we're getting right here. 6-0 Dodgers. It's you got Pete Alonso, you got Francisco Lindor, but you're not going to be able to beat a team like this. And, the Guardians have a better chance of beating the Yankees, but I hope we do get a Dodger-Yankee World Series. So that way we can see Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and Giancarlo Stanton and Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts and Teoscar Hernandez and Freddie Freeman. We want to be able to have the best of the best out there. Not that Steven Kwan and Jose Ramirez don't matter. Those guys are cool, but Yankees Dodgers would be like the ultimate. So I'm hoping that's what we end up getting for the World Series, which I would assume that we will get. But the Guardians have a better chance to take that series to 7 or to win 2 or 3 games. The Mets, they're probably only going to win 1, maybe 2 at the most. But if they play like this tonight that we're watching right now, they're going to get fucking swept. Or they might be able to win 1 in New York, but you're not winning in LA. Yeah, I think everyone wants the Yankees-Dodger World Series. That would be ideal.
lounges worldwide, including the Centurion Lounge, with a flexible study at a
Yeah, Mets beat the Phillies. Phillies. And the Phillies were one of the best teams in the National League all year, but sometimes teams get hot at the right time and, there ends up being an upset or two, but to be able to have your best players in the world go against each other, and you got to think the Yankees and the Dodgers have the most Hall of Famers, on, each team compared to the Guardians and the Mets. Like, you got Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso. Those guys are pretty good. I'm not sure if they're necessarily Hall of Fame though, even though their numbers, may indicate they might have a shot depending on how many years they play and if they keep playing on a high level. But I don't think that necessarily they're a lock for the Hall of Fame, Lindor and Pete Alonso. They're good players, but they're not Shohei Ohtani. They're not Mookie Betts. They're not Freddie Freeman. Hell, even Teoscar Hernandez, I think I would take him over Pete Alonso. Alonso just got hot, lately. Francisco Lindor, though, he had a really good season, but the Guardians, Steven Kwan, Jose Ramirez, they have a couple guys that are pretty good over there, but they're not Juan Soto. They're not Aaron Judge. So, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, but we already knew the Brew Crew were Fugazi, and they weren't good enough to make it. Like you could still be first place in that division in the Central, but again, it's like one of the most competitive divisions where it's like everyone is kind of close to each other in the rankings all year long, and then you end up having one team that kind of escapes and kind of gets away. But it never really felt like the Brewers were going to be like, they felt like, okay, you can get first place in the Central, but you're going to definitely lose in the playoffs. Like you're not built for the postseason. And again, you can be good in the regular season, but once you go to the postseason, it really does separate the men from the boys. But I'll say this. I am surprised the Mets not just got into the playoffs because they had to have that doubleheader on the last game of the regular season where they had to win one to get in because the Diamondbacks were probably more deserving, right? So they not only did they barely get in, but they overachieved, and then Pete Alonso got super hot, and then they were able to beat a few teams to get to this point. But again, you might have been hot and you might have been lucky, but once you start playing a super powerhouse team, like the Dodgers and Yankees, usually your luck is going to run out at that point, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Now, once the games, shift to New York, right, and they shift to Cleveland, then that home field advantage and having the fans behind you will definitely help them. But I don't think anyone really feels that, the Mets are going to be able to advance. Now, the Guardians do have a shot against the Yankees, a better shot than New York does, but I would still say that if New York plays the Guardians in a 7-game series, you would assume New York would win in 6 or 7 games. I'm not sure if they are good enough to win in 5. Guardians are better than the Mets, but we'll have to kind of wait to see how these games play out. In the regular season, yes, they were better, right? But in the postseason, no. Obviously the Mets were the better team in the postseason. They played better ball. Pitching was a little bit better. Hitting was better. And the Brewers don't have a Francisco Lindor or a Pete Alonso, that were playing on that kind of level. But, regular season Brewers were good, But again, and once you go to the postseason, things get kind of taken to another level. And if you don't got good pitching and defense, you're going to get absolutely rocked because that's really the key statistics that you need. You need good pitching and good defense. And if you don't have that, you're screwed. I'm going to get a drink real quick, check up on Paisley, and then we'll get ready for the second half. 7-0 Bengals. Let's get some fucking more. Goddamn, the fucking Dodgers got 1 run less than what the Bengals score is. We got Dodgers 6, Mets 0, Bengals 7, Giants 0. Come on.
The absolute best. We got the Jets and Steelers next Sunday night. Coming up, I'll talk with friends about New York in the aftermath of Robert Collins' fire. First step of the key to a bigger, brighter world. And the all-new Henry Toyota. Feel the groove, all nation. Soft drinks are just a buck at Wendy's. Any size, any kind. 3 p.m. Fanta, 10 p.m. Sprite, 7:46 a.m. Coke. Yeah, you're built different. Other soft drinks, any size, gotta be Wendy's. Crazy week and New Year's sports after watching the Giants here at halftime. But it started with the Robert Saleh fire. We saw him in a press conference saying nobody's panicked. 24 hours later, we're hearing that fired. And what the reaction to the year?
Well, shocked. The whole NFL was shocked, right? And people I talked to around the NFL that kind of know the situation in general, right? I think a lot of people think Aaron Rodgers had a hand in this, right? He got it fired, or got Saleh fired. No, I think Willie Johnson had enough of the Robert Saleh experiment. He was done, and he wanted to move on.
Okay, Nathaniel Hackett not fired, but apparently play calling duty no longer in his hands. What changes does that make, and what should we look forward to seeing next Sunday night when we have this?
Well, I'm interested to see what changes as well. Everyone wants to jump on Nathaniel Hackett right now, right? And the problem with his offense. My point is, it's Aaron Rodgers' offense. Nathaniel Hackett in Denver and Jacksonville before this, he didn't run an offense that we're seeing right now.
Touchdown, Dodgers. Did they get to 7? They're still at 6. I was about to say, did they get to 7?
I would say is Rodgers can't be all about it. They need to run the ball, they need to protect them. He's got one of the greatest arms ever.
I mean, I think that, we were hoping for a little bit more of a competitive matchup than 7-0 for the Bengals, and then obviously 6-0 Dodgers. But I guess that's what happens when you end up having so many amazing college football games yesterday, and then this is what we were left over with. But missed the extra point. Zay, do you think you can push the Yankees to 7 games? I think it could happen. I feel more comfortable of the Guardians getting it to 7 than the Mets. The way that the Mets are playing, it looks like it's going to be, Dodgers in 5, maybe Dodgers in 6. But if the Dodgers keep playing like this and the Mets keep playing like this, it could be the Dodgers in a sweep. But I would assume the Mets will get some kind of momentum from their fans, and they'll be able to at least win 1 in New York, maybe 2. But if they play like this, probably only 1. It'll be Dodgers in 5. But with the Guardians, I feel that matchup is a lot more even. Like, Yankees will be favored, but I don't think that bothers the Guardians. I feel like they played pretty good ball. And, to be able to get Skubal in a clutch game like they did, which almost no team is able to do, that was very clutch. And, we'll see if that momentum can carry over. But, again, it's all going to be about pitching and defense, against a team like that. So, but I would assume the Guardians are easily good for 2 to 3 wins, but can they get 4? I don't know. That's going to be – they would have to have a lot of things go right for them to beat the Yankees. Your bullpen is amazing. One of the best bullpens out there, but are you going to be able to get enough, clutch hits and enough defense against a team like the Yankees, It's like Steven Kwan's going to have to play great, right? Jose Ramirez has got to play out of his mind. Nailers, you're going to have everyone play like out of their mind, and then also you're going to have to limit the damage to Giancarlo and Soto and specifically Aaron Judge. So. But the Guardians are much better than the Mets. Like, I would highly doubt that we're going to see the Guardians, end up being down 6-0. Like, obviously the Yankees are good enough to put up, that type of damage. But, I'll give the Guardians some love. I watched them all year, and, they seem much better than the Mets. So, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to win 3 or 4. 1 or 2 for sure, but 3 or 4, that has yet to be seen. But hopefully it ends up being a good series. Shep in the building. What's good, bro? You barely squeaked out another win in fantasy, my guy. You're squeaking them out, but a dub is a dub. I wish I could say the same. But, Ducks won against the Buckeyes. Buccaneers beat the Saints. So I'm good there. Lost in fantasy, though, so I didn't get the trifecta, but, I'm okay. How are you doing? But I think as far as the sport is concerned, if we do get Dodgers Yankees, that's kind of been the matchup that a lot of fans have wanted, even if you don't give a shit about the Dodgers or Yankees, but just having two of the best players on planet Earth go against each other. We haven't got a chance to see Shohei Ohtani versus Aaron Judge ever. So if we end up getting it, it'll be must-see TV, and we don't really know who would end up winning that. I would assume that the Dodgers would be the favored team barely, based off like Vegas and the betting line, but Yankees, if they ended up beating the Guardians, they would have just as good of a chance to win it. And, maybe we would end up getting a 7-game, to decide it. Each team wins 3 and then it goes game 7. And then, that's kind of what I think a lot of fans are hoping. We get Yankees Dodgers and it does go 7 games and, let the best man win. So. Ooh, Texas Roadhouse sounds good. Yeah, well, the main reason that you ended up winning, though, too, is that Richardson didn't fucking play, and they ended up putting Flacco in. And what did I tell you? I told you if Flacco plays, Downs' value is a lot higher than it is with AR, so you got kind of lucky. Now, Pittman didn't do a whole lot early on, but some of those guys, ended up getting you points, except for like Ridley shit the bed for you. But other than that, like I said, you got enough, out of some of those guys to get the victory. So, but if AR was playing, I think you would have lost because I don't think that you would have been able to get enough points out of those Colts receivers. So you kind of lucked out. No Autobots. We do not want any. Yeah, you had one piece shit the bed, but you had everyone else play well, and you got just enough to be able to get the victory. So congrats. All right, we're in the second half now. I mean, you're in the position normally I'm in every year, but you've earned it this year. Yeah. Bots are everywhere, especially during NFL season. All right, come on, Giants. Okay, I know you got no Malik Neighbors, you got no Devin Singletary, no Kayvon Thibodeau on the defensive side, but can we get some goddamn points? Let's go. $7-0. I mean, this is pacing to be the worst Sunday night game of the year. Come on now. But it does show you when you have injuries, right, to certain pieces that you're banking on every week, like Jay Jetta, and then you have to start searching the wire and filling in the gaps. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes you have guys on your team that just don't perform, like Ridley, and you have to look at the quarterback situation, and if the quarterback situation isn't good, sometimes you got to move on. Like, I don't think anybody trusts Will Levis, and there's a reason why there's not a lot of people that have players from that team. Unless you have like Tony Pollard like me, that might be the only valuable piece that's actually on the Titans, but everyone else is kind of hit or miss. So, but at least you won, Ridley shit the bed and you won. I wish I could say the same. So, but there definitely will be 6 teams battling for 4 spots. Just who will be those 6 teams? We'll have to wait and find out. But congratulations to Matt. Reflect and Zini are right at each other. We'll see what happens there. Captain Oreo looks like he's going to get his first win after 4 losses in a row. Chief will Chief beat Sarah, and then Steph beat Elliott. And Elliott, if he just would have been able to get a different running back that could have got him points after getting 35 with Godwin, you would have lost. But sometimes if you don't have enough depth at a position, it will really hurt you. Like Javonte Williams might have come up big last week, but again, sometimes when you have an offense like Denver, you can't count on guys every week to be able to step up. Good defense by the Bengals, incomplete. Well, Pollard's a good running back. He doesn't really have They got Tajay Spears as the backup, but Pollard has actually been one of the best running backs in the NFL this year. So, I mean, he might not be a big popular name. I mean, he used to be the Cowboys running back with Zeke, but they don't really have anybody else to go to on that team. So, Pollard is one of those guys. As long as they give him enough touches, he'll be successful. And he's helped me in fantasy this year. I mean, I wish I could have gotten more dubs with some of my other guys, but he's been money, and you just got to ride those guys as much as you can. Nine targets for 9 yards. Yeah, but I like Pollard. That's like the only good piece on the Titans. I start him almost every week unless the matchup is red and bad. There we go. There's Jamar Chase. First down, Bengals. Well, remember, you're playing the fucking Panthers. I would hope that you would be able to beat them. Hell, if you can't beat them, you don't deserve to win the NFC South. But again, we beat the brakes off the Saints, and it looks like it's either going to be you or me. It's either going to be the Falcons or the Bucs. And, you guys ended up beating us, a few weeks back, and, we're waiting for payback when you guys come to Tampa. So don't forget, we're still going for the NFC South crown. But good job so far for beating everyone in the South. You've beaten the Panthers, the Saints, and the Bucs up to this point. Fumble. There we go, Giants. They actually did something. Wow, the Giants did something. Maybe they should just give them points for like a turnover recovery. Give them 3. I mean, this game is so bad as it is. You got to give them something. Seahawks and then Tampa. Well, Seahawks are still injured, and Tampa is just getting healthy now, with Antoine Winfield Jr. coming back and scoring a touchdown within the first couple plays. So it shows you I haven't had Antoine Winfield Jr., the best safety in football, since week 1. So we haven't really been the same team since week 1, and it feels good to be able to have him. Hell, we put up 51 today. First time we put up 50 since 2019 with Jameis. So, if we can have Vita Vea and Antoine Winfield Jr., I feel my life, is pretty good. But when we don't have a complete team, for as far as health wise, yeah, I mean, you can't really count on dubs every week when your best players are sitting on the sideline. So but you definitely lucked out with a 0.9 with Ridley and still won. But Javonte Williams with only a 4.6, and DJ Moore with a 6, and a Kraft with a 3.5. And if Elliott would have put Ingram in, he would have beat you. So it's not like he couldn't have beat you. He just had to take the risk. After Kraft put up like a 20-point game last week, and instead of Romeo Doubs getting those touchdowns today, if it was Kraft, you would have lost. But again, coulda, woulda, shoulda. And sometimes you end up having pieces that shit the bed. But 24 out of Purdy. 21 out of Kenneth Walker III, right? Kittle with 22.8, Downs with 19.5, which wouldn't have happened if AR was quarterbacking today. So you kind of got lucky that the Colts decided to bench AR, because if they didn't, you would have lost 100%, because you wouldn't have been able to get those numbers out of those guys, because AR is not very good. So you're blessed that they ended up benching him for one more week. They should bench him for the rest of the season, but we probably won't have that happen. Yeah. But also when you end up having like a 0.9, if you end up having a couple guys get 20, it makes up for it. You know what I mean? And not very many teams in the league can get to 20 points for a player. This year has been tough, right? Let alone if you got 2 pieces with 20, 3 pieces with 20, 4 pieces with 20. I mean, not many teams have the ability to do that, based on how fantasy has been, this year. So, you definitely have lucked out, and also you stacked, with all Niners. So it ended up working out in your benefit this week. So. I wish I knew what it was like to be able to score 20 points out of a position. I don't know what that's like. I mean, I ended up grabbing Caleb Williams, and I got 28, so I got the most points out of quarterback this week, right? But it still wasn't enough for me to win, unfortunately. Tracy with a decent run. Yeah, they're definitely very hot right now. Pass to the sideline, incomplete on 2nd down and 1. Yeah, but again, a win is a win. You know, even if you win by 1 point like the Ducks did over Ohio State, in fantasy, a win is a win, you know, even if it's ugly. You know, as long as you're getting dubs in the win column, that's all that matters. But at least you got to be happy that you're one of the top 2 teams in the league. It's you and Reflect and everybody else. So that's got to be a good feeling. Normally it's me and Reflect, so you took my spot. And I'm going to try like hell to get to 4th place, but fuck, if I can't even beat Matt, you know, and my guys like James Conner shit the bed, like I can't have guys, you know, that I'm waiting on CMC and Cooper Kupp and Nick Chubb to get healthy. You know, I need my guys to at least hit fucking 10 points, you know, at running back, if I'm going to be going with 3 running backs instead of 3 wide receivers. And, you know, I haven't been able to get the consistency that I need from some of these guys. And it's, you know, it's painful, man. But it's not like I left any points on the bench. I mean, I made the right decisions, but, you know, I guess James Conner's a bitch. I guess that's how it goes, you know. I thought you would be better, James. You know, but that Packer defense is a real deal. They made Kyler and everyone on the Cardinals look like bitches today. Wan'Dale Robinson with the catch. Oh, you're not going to beat Reflect next week. Reflect ain't going to lose too many games. I mean, it's always possible that you could, but I don't think your roster is good enough to beat them. You don't have enough good players. You know, like if you look at the top teams and you look at their roster, the top tier players, the guys that can put up 20, 30, 40 points, if you don't got enough of those guys, you're not going to be able to compete with that type of roster. And he's already lost Rashee Rice for the season. You know, Nico Collins is on IR. But again, if you look at the depth of his roster, you know, there's a reason why he's in first place. You know, again, he had a great draft. He's been filling his bench, you know, on the wire every week with different pieces, you know, and, you know, someone's going to beat him, you would think, at some point, but I highly doubt you're going to beat him, Matt. You might have been able to get lucky and beat me this week, but you're not going to beat him next week. I'd be very shocked if that happens. Just based on your roster not having good enough players, bro. What's good, Reflect? Oh, Matt's thinking he's going to beat you next week. Not going to happen. But we can all dream. I don't know. We'll see if Zini beats you. I mean, again, like, it really comes down to if, you know, James Cook, if he plays, you know, because he's hurt. So, you know, and it's not like Burrow and Chase have been lighting it up today. So it kind of feels like you're going to end up winning, even though she's projected to beat you, you know, by a couple. Like if you don't get Burrow and Chase in the end zone tonight, if they can't, you know, have that happen, you're going to win, you know, and James Cook is injured. So we're at 12, 88 to go. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. I don't even know what it's like to hit numbers like that you guys are hitting. You know, you guys get all these fucking projections of what I'm used to getting, 125, 130, 135, and getting 130, 140, 150. I don't know what that is this year. That's like a pipe dream. You know, I was able to get it in week 1 when I had everyone healthy. even except for Christian McCaffrey. But since then, I haven't even been able to manufacture a lineup good enough to even get numbers like that. Hopefully I will, before the season ends, especially with like Cooper Kupp and Nick Chubb and Run CMC. But I mean, Jesus Christ, I've had to use Joe Flacco and Caleb Williams the last 2 weeks at quarterback. It's worked out, but I haven't been able to get dubs on both weeks. Reflect with the 20. Appreciate you. But I want to know what it feels like to put up a 140 or 150 at least a couple times this year. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, little cactus jack, bang, bang. But I'm still going to try to get to that 4th place number. And I really thought I was going to beat Matt this week. I thought, especially with the start that I had with Caleb, I wasn't expecting James Conner and some of these other idiots to shit the bed. But, that's what happens in fantasy. Sometimes they underperform. So, and also, you ended up starting Kyler thinking that he was going to actually be able to throw the ball against the Packers, and him and James Conner shit the bed for us, which isn't ideal. We did good with Caleb and Komet, so we paired up there, and we did good on that end, Reflect, but the Cardinals players have fucked us over today. Kyler played like shit. James Conner played like shit and fumbled, and then they ended up replacing him with, the backup running backs, DeMarcado and the others. So thanks a lot, James, you fucking idiot. Yeah, Packers defense has been good this year. They're the only team in the NFL to force 2 turnovers every game this season. Yeah. And again, I would have started like Kareem Hunt, but he had a fucking bye. It's like anytime I feel like I have like a decent shot to win, like I have a key piece that's got a fucking bye that I can't count on. But, and I also had a player get injured in the game, Jordan Mason. And if that didn't happen, I think I would have beat Matt as well. But, Mason getting hurt anytime you get a player that's good hurt in the middle of the game, you typically lose 100% of the time. And that's exactly what has happened, James Conner underperforming, Mason getting hurt in the game. Tolbert not playing well. Thanks a lot, Tolbert, you piece of shit. Denver defense getting me a 2. Thanks a lot, Denver D. Bastards. I'm sick and tired of losing. Like, you never know where those tutties are going to go. Normally that goes to DJ Moore, right? And then Keenan Allen ended up getting some, and Cole Kmet got some. But that doesn't mean that they're going to get it next week. It might go right back to DJ Moore or someone else. So, or like Roma Dunzier, you just don't really know where the targets could be hot one week, and then next week you think you're going to get the same thing. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. Denver D played like shit, man. They were terrible. And also, you ended up getting a touchdown with Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton that shouldn't have counted. That shit hit the ground. And so you ended up getting points out of both of those guys that shouldn't have counted. Now, you ended up getting points after that where you still could have probably beat me by a point or 2, but that wasn't a touchdown. That shit hit the ground, and that should have been incomplete. But, it is what it is. I'm used to getting screwed with calls by the refs, so. And I watched that whole game between the Broncos and the Chargers, so I know exactly how that. I mean, you were at a -1 for a good chunk of the game with Bo Nix. It's not like he played well, but obviously played good enough in the 3rd and 4th quarter to get points when the Chargers D let up a little bit. But Franklin got his first touchdown. Yep, that's true. And that's always good for Duck fans. But that Sutton touchdown was bullshit. That shit hit the ground. It was an amazing attempt with the one-handed grab, but you can clearly see that it got hit on the ground and he pinned it on the ground, and that should have been incomplete, but it was called a touchdown on the field, and so they kept it. Jones going deep and complete. Oh, we got an injury. Slayton. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. Help your boy out. 6-0 Dodgers. 7-0 Bengals. Who's going to score more in this game, the Dodgers or the Bengals? But the bottom line, you can't have 4 guys out of 9 shit the bed. And that's what happened with me. So Matt earned the win this week. Congrats on that. And hopefully, you know, me searching the wire, I can actually get someone that lives up to their fucking numbers. Touchdown, Giants. Tyrone Tracy Jr. Extra point is up and good. We have a 7-7 ball game. Well, especially if Singletary ends up continuously, you know, being injury prone. Like he might be a guy that, you know, you can actually plug and play once in a while. I know you had him originally in the lineup and whatnot, but I like the style of runner that he is. I would have put him on my bench possibly if I had a chance, but you know, but again, when you're struggling and you have to keep grabbing guys on the wire, hoping that they're going to perform, even when they have a green matchup, it's just my luck, you know. That Dak Prescott had to shit the bed as bad as they did today. Like with a team like that against the Lions defense, you know, all of those receivers should have been able to get to 10 points in fantasy or more, but you know, just wasn't my day. Yeah, but again, when I have to do that for half of my lineup every week where I'm reaching and I'm reaching and I'm reaching, you know, at some point, some of those guys are not going to perform. But Caleb was a good choice, which it made me nervous because it was in London, not in Chicago, you know. But again, you know, going against the worst defense in football, you know, I thought 15 to 23 points was, you know, possible, and he got a little bit more. And Tank Dell, I was money on that. He ended up having 4 games of 20 points last year, because I did my research, you know, when Nico was out. But, you know, four spots out of 9 that shit the bed, you know, I can't have that. And, you know, I'm not used to losing. You know, that's plain and simple. I'm used to being in the top 3. I'm used to winning the championship. I'm used to getting 2nd or 3rd. I'm not used to being at the goddamn bottom in the fucking rankings. But, you know, it is what it is. And hopefully, you know, I can accumulate a few more wins and, you know, get close. But, you know, after losing to Matt this week, I don't think I'm going to make the playoffs. I don't got enough time, you know, even with McCaffrey and, you know, Chubb and Cooper Kupp coming back. I'm running out of time. You know, we're already almost halfway through the season. I haven't even been able to use, you know, Chubb. I haven't been able to use CMC. Kupp might be back in a week or 2. Chubb might be back next week, but it's not like I can start him. You know, like what? I'm going to start a guy that hasn't played since week 2 last year, you know? So then I got to wait a couple of weeks and evaluate Chubb to see what he looks like. And it's not like the Browns offense is good. It's terrible. So just not my year. I guess, you know, everyone has to have a fucked year. And I guess my fucked year is this year. But congratulations to everyone else that's doing well in the league. Yeah, I mean, I'm putting myself in the best position to win, but again, guys underachieving, you know, or injuries, you know, and it's not, you know, I've made the most moves, and regardless of, you know, if I was in first place right now, I still would have the same amount of moves. I'm at 83, which is a lot more than anyone else in the league, but, you know, if I'm making the moves and I'm picking correct matchups and then they underperform, I mean, what do I do? I mean, I all I can do is put my, you know, position, put myself in the best position to win. And if they don't perform, that's not my fault, you know? So, yeah, but it's not like it's due to not trying. I mean, I'm trying harder than anyone in the league to try to win games. But again, I just don't have that top tier talent, you know, like some of y'all do. You know, I don't have guys that can get me 20, 30, 40 points every week, you know? And then if I do get someone like that, I have to grab them from the goddamn wire, you know? And then if I grab them, you know, who knows if they actually get it, you know? Like I was good enough to obviously take a chance on Caleb and take a chance on Tank Dell, and it worked, you know? But still, I wasn't able to get the victory. I'm very disappointed. You know, I got the Ducks and Bucks win, but I am fucking salty losing in fantasy, you know, especially when I'm trying. But for someone that's never finished lower than third, I guess it was going to eventually catch up to me at some point with, bad, decisions in my draft and injuries. But at least I learned a lesson. I'll never pick Christian McCaffrey or Cooper Kupp ever again, and that'll help me in years moving forward. That doesn't mean I'm going to avoid big injuries to guys, but I tried a different type of strategy this year. I learned my lesson. I never will pick running back in the first round ever again. I'll go wide receiver heavy, and it is what it is. I tried to go for the great white hype with the Caucasian sensations, but apparently the great white hypes, if you're a Caucasian running back or Caucasian wide receiver, I can't count on you. I was going with the double, McCaffrey and Kupp, and I can't count on either one. So I guess that's my life. Too injury prone. Well, I mean, if CMC was healthy and Kupp was healthy, I would probably be in first place right now, or maybe second with Reflect. Because, those guys can put up 40, 50 points just with those two guys alone. So, Christian McCaffrey was the number one player in fantasy, averaged 24.5 points last year per game. So if I had that, I would be in a much better situation. Just having McCaffrey, I probably would be in first or second place right now if I just had him. Even if I didn't have Cooper Kupp or Chubb to have as an option. But, Madden curse is real, I guess. Jerry in the building. What's good? But again, if the 49ers would have been truthful and said that he was hurt, I never would have drafted him. Again, every fantasy owner that picked first, second, or third that grabbed Christian McCaffrey, we were under the assumption that he was going to play. And if he was going to miss time, it was only a week or two, not fucking the whole season. To miss out on your first pick in the draft is super detrimental. Like I said, you can't win in fantasy when you're missing out on a guy that could normally put up 20, 30, 40 points a game. I don't know anyone else that's been able to survive without him. Think about all of your guys' first pick in the draft. Most of you guys still have that player, or at least had that player for a good chunk of the season. I haven't been able to use that player once this year. So I'm at a huge disadvantage over everyone else in the league. I'm not able to get my 25, 30, 40 point games. 7-7 Bengals and Giants. I think the Niners would have done what any team would have done if they were rostered Christian McCaffrey. They didn't want to let everyone know that he was seriously injured, and again, obviously for fantasy, they don't give a shit about fantasy players like us. They could give two shits about who has who in fantasy. They're just trying to be able to protect their team and to protect their player and to, be able to have that strategy. So that way that they're game planning like he was going to play, even though he was never going to play, but it would have been nice if they were honest and said, he might end up missing the first month or longer because of this injury. And then no one would have taken Christian McCaffrey in the first round. Christian McCaffrey would have got picked in the second or third round. Someone would have took a chance then, but no one would have picked him in the first round if they knew that he was going to miss time. There's too many other valuable pieces that they could have picked up. Justin Jefferson, Breece Hall. I could have took any of those guys, but I guess that's just my life. First and goal, Burrow. And complete. Yeah. Puka as well. So pretty much, if I know someone's injured in preseason, I'm not taking them. Like I said, sometimes you got to learn a harsh lesson, and I usually go with different strategies. I like to take risks, I'll go running back heavy, wide receiver heavy, but again, sometimes you got to pay the price and you have to learn a fucking bad lesson and then you'll learn moving forward, Higgins. But, just my luck. I'll never pick Christian McCaffrey ever again, but in our league next year, whoever picks Christian McCaffrey will probably be the best running back in football. That's just the way that it works, you know? He ends up being injured all year this year. I say, fuck you. I'll never pick you ever again. And then Christian McCaffrey will be like the best running back in the NFL next year. It's just my luck that would happen. So. Right. Third and goal. Burrow. Touchdown, Bengals. But there's a flag on the play. But also the Madden curse is real. Like, you know, it feels like 90% of the time when someone gets on Madden and they have a great, like, season, you know, a statistically, oh my God, year, then the next year they end up getting injured or they have a bad down year. It just seems like that happens almost every single time. Now, it hasn't happened on every Madden cover, but almost every Madden cover, you know, they celebrate that player that had a great year and then the next year they play like shit or they get hurt. Almost every single one. Third and goal on the penalty by the Bengals, 5 wide now. Shotgun set, Burrow. Pressure by the Giants, and nothing. It's 12 noon. You know what time it is. Time for a sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. Yeah, but I will, you know, I try not to hold grudges in like real life, you know, but you know how it goes. Sometimes when people do you dirty or when they lie to you or steal from you or they do something horrific, right? It's hard to forgive. Some people can forgive and forget, but some of us, we can't. You know, we're going to still kind of hold a slight grudge or a full grudge, right? And like I said, if someone ends up doing me dirty, like, you know, regardless if it's real life or fantasy, I'm going to feel a certain type of way. Like I know some of y'all will as well. And obviously the mature thing is to be able to forgive and forget, but it's a little bit more difficult depending on the situation, as everyone knows, depending on how severe, you know, that they fucked you over, right? In real life or maybe in fantasy. But, I will never, you know, once someone does something bad to me, you know, or I have a bad experience, I will stay away. Because, you know, I think a lot of us in fantasy, we have certain type of players that are our guys, right? That we look for that player every year because we trust them, right? And then anytime that we go out of our trust zone, usually we get burned. And that's exactly what I did, because normally I don't go for McCaffrey or Cooper Kupp, you know, and I decided to do it this year and I got burned. So those will never be on my roster ever again. Even if they end up being, you know, top 5 players at their position, someone else will benefit from that, but it won't be me. So I got other guys that I can get, you know, instead of Cooper Kupp, you know, Amon-Ra, you know, I trust him. Jay Jetta, I trust you, you know. But again, we have certain guys that we trust and then certain guys that we have to take a risk on. And I'm not gonna take risks like that ever again. So, because I don't want to be, you know, fighting for my life every week in fantasy. So, but I think all of us have certain guys that we trust. Like every year, I can trust Jay Jetta. Every year, I can trust and love Amon-Ra St. Brown or David Montgomery or Jahmyr Gibbs. Like we have certain guys that we can trust. You know, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, you know, I got guys that I can trust, but, you know, there's always guys that they might have a beast year here and there, but if you're not doing it consistently, you're not my guy. Consistency is king. And I was an idiot this year, and I'm paying the price for it. So 10-7 Bengals. Anything you want to see photo-wise reflect for your generous dono? Yeah. I mean, I always like to take, like, you know, rookies and risks, and I already know I'm going to be working the wire harder than anyone else. So, you know, but again, like, I think, like, sometimes you have to make mistakes in life to be able to learn from them. And as long as you learn from your mistakes and don't do the same shit again the following year, then you're going to be fine. And sometimes making a mistake, it's cruel, you know, the results that you get in return, you know, but also too, look at Reflect. he did a draft that how I normally draft. But with that being said, he had 3 of the top 5 receivers, and now he only has 1. But he still has a good enough team to win the championship, and he still has an undefeated record at this point. So, sometimes you can have a certain strategy, and it still ends up kind of screwing you over because you can't predict injuries. But it's better to have 3 of the top 5 wide receivers than typically 3 of the top 5 running backs, because the running backs typically are more prone to get hurt than wide receivers. But in Reflect's case, he got screwed over with the Rashee Rice out for the year, but he will get Nico Collins back, and he still has CeeDee Lamb. So, having guys out for the year is different than guys out for a month. As long as you're able to continue to win games and you still had a good draft to be able to fill that hole temporarily or for the rest of the season. So that's the difference between Reflect and Shep and everyone else in the league. If you look at their teams and the way that they're built, they were still able, like Shep hasn't really got the injury bug as much as some of the other teams. So, at some point maybe it'll hit him, but he's avoided a lot of the bigger long-term season-ending injuries, because obviously Tua, no one, cares about that. I mean, you have plenty of other options other than Tua, Obviously you got, Purdy and Dak at this point. So, but for the people that have significant injuries at running back and wide receiver, those are going to be more detrimental than quarterback. You can always find another quarterback, but if it's a high-end running back or a high-end wide receiver, sometimes you can't replace that. So. Yeah, well, especially when CMC was the best player in fantasy last year, averaging 25 a game. I mean, can you imagine scoring 25 a game with one guy or more? I want that, but again, it's a boom or bust. And again, like you pick guys that normally I would pick. CeeDee Lamb, I would pick. Nico Collins, I would pick, because you also pick guys that have good quarterbacks, and that's a part of it too. You don't pick wide receivers that have a dog shit quarterback. You pick the Rashee Rice because they have Patrick Mahomes. You pick Nico Collins because they have CJ Stroud, right? You pick CeeDee Lamb because they have Dak Prescott. That's what we call intelligent and being a smart drafter, And you were lucky enough to grab those guys in the draft when you did, And also it helps when you end up having guys like Joe Mixon and David Montgomery, who normally hit every single fucking week, And you got to be able to pick players on good teams. If you end up picking players on shitty teams, like Captain Oreo did with like Brees and Garrett Wilson, sometimes you're going to score 50 or 60 points out of 2 guys. But on the hindsight, if the Jets lose bad, you might only get 10 points out of those 2 guys. So there's a risk on picking like elite players on bad teams. And usually that's not something that I do. You always want to pick elite players and good players on good teams. And sometimes it's hard to predict if a team is going to be good that year, but, everyone has trust issues depending on the certain type of player. So. Yeah. I mean, fantasy is one of those things that, you'll learn every year, and you can also not only learn based on what you did, you can look to see how other people are playing. And kind of learn, okay, these guys that are at the top, these are who they have rostered. And that doesn't mean that those guys, all of them are going to be good next year. But, chances are, if you're looking at the numbers and looking at the production, it'll give you an idea on possibly where to go. But quarterback play and tight end play is drastically down, and I don't think anyone anticipated that. We all anticipated injuries, but maybe not to this extent, so. But it's definitely Reflect and Shep at the top and just everyone else. And then there's going to be 4 people fighting for those last 2 spots. So we'll see what happens. I don't know if I will be one of those 4, if I will be, team number 6 or 5 or 4 or 3, but you sure as hell I'm going to try. But losing to Matt this week definitely hurt my chances. And then I got Oreo next week. But again, if you look at my team, I'm projected for the lowest amount of points every week. Normally I'm first. So to be, projected for 130 a week to 100 to 109, that's not good. It's not a good feeling when everyone's projected for more points than me, when normally I'm number 1. But I guess that's my life right now, and then hopefully it'll get better later on in the year or next year. But if I get Chubb, CMC, and Cup healthy for like a month and a half, I will have a chance to slightly catch up if those guys can play for me. But the question is, can they play? And I don't know. I think I'm going to run out of time before I can actually use those guys to my advantage. And I got to be able to trust them. And then also if they come back and if they have bad matchups, I can't play them. So some guys you can play regardless if it's a red matchup, but I don't know if anyone has got like a Christian McCaffrey type of player this year where, regardless if it's red or not, you can get 20 points or more almost every week. Tracy with the short game there in the fourth quarter, 10-7 Bengals. Oh, yeah. Tracy's definitely earned running back reps. Jones, the best thing that he's able to do is use his legs like Justin Fields. They can't throw. And I would say probably Justin Fields is even a better thrower than Daniel Jones, but not by much, but slightly better. But they're both, good runners for sure. Tracy inside, and the Bengals D-line stuffs that run. 2-0 Stars final. Oh, Kraken. When's the next game for the Kraken? So we're 1-2 now, and we had to go to double OT to win our first game. Hopefully, at least we didn't give up 3, 4, 5 goals today. I bet, we didn't score any. It's one thing or the other, but hopefully it'll get better. 4th down and 1. QB sneak by Daniel Jones, which was the correct call. First down, Giants. But I hope I don't have a year like this ever again. I wouldn't wish a year like this on anybody. It's terrible. Thanks a lot, Broncos D. Thanks a lot, Tolbert. Thanks a lot, Mason, for getting hurt. Thanks a lot, James Conner. You bum. The players that end up having bye weeks really are a killer. If you ever lose a game in fantasy and you look on your bench on a guy that you would have been able to use, but they have, a bye, it just kills you. Especially if you have problems at that position and you just need to have that player play to give you a better shot to win. If you got too many guys on a bye in 1 week, that's a killer. Judd Apatow, Jimmy Kimmel, lots of celebrities there. Ken Jeong, my guy. Jason Bateman in the building. Ozark, baby. Second and inches. Another sneak by Jones. Zach Moss, 0.5. Kirk, 6.9. Mike Evans, 5.4. So it's not, I didn't make any mistakes. That's what makes it more painful for me. Like if I would have, left a guy on the bench that would have won me the game, then it's like, hard to forgive yourself when you make a mistake like that. But when you end up not making any mistakes and then the players underperform, it's just like ripping my fucking heart out. Jones. Four-yard gain for Tracy.
So how many of the other teams know exactly?
Yeah, your wide receiver room doesn't look very good without Jay Jetta in there, But again, like I told you, you got blessed that they decided to play Flacco instead of AR, because if you had AR, you would have been fucked this week. Elliott would have beat you. I mean, like I said, if it comes down to film and stats, I'm watching so many games every weekend. Not only do I watch Red Zone, but I'm watching like almost every game that's on. So it's like, it's not like I'm just looking at a fucking highlight page or, a little stat page. I have to watch the flow of the game to be able to see how the team looks. And I think the league, is so strong this year. There's not as many good pieces on the wire week in and week out. Again, normally in the past, you would be able to find guys that could get you 10 to 15, at wide receiver or running back pretty easily, even with the players that we had playing. But like this year, it's pretty bare. Like you really have to look, and you have to scroll up and down, and you even have to look at names that normally you would never even consider to hope that you can find a piece that might be an asset for your team. Unless there's an injury, and then it's like, okay, maybe this guy will step up into this role. But I feel like the wire has been the thinnest that it's ever been. Not a whole lot of wiggle room, to be pick up a guy that could be an impact player for your team. Kick is up and no good. Oh. But congrats to Matt. Congrats to Captain Oreo. Congrats to Chief Will Chief and Shep. And it's Zini's projected to beat you by a point. But again, Burrow's at 18, Chase is at 12, and she still has Cook. But I don't know, man. The way that this game is going right now, I would assume Reflect is going to win. And even though you haven't had injuries, you haven't really had too many pieces shit the bed. Like your lowest piece hit a 5.7, And plus, the teams at the top, like Reflect and Shep, you guys normally have 2, 3, 4 pieces that hit 20. No one else in the league has that, Like some of us might have one piece that gets to 20, or maybe if we're lucky 2, but we're not in the position to have 3, 4 guys hit fucking 20. I wish I knew what that was like. But again, when you got 3 or 4 guys that can hit 20, that's a huge benefit. Then if you end up having a guy shit the bed with 5, it doesn't matter. One guy hits 5, another guy hits 20, then it ends up being like 15 and 15. Like I told you with Nicole Komet, Robinson ended up shitting the bed, but I mean, you ended up having so many more points that it didn't even fucking matter. All right, take care. Yeah, and also Cook is hurt, so we'll see. But if I had to put money on it, I mean, if unless Burrow and Chase connect with a touchdown here in the fourth quarter, I would assume you're going to win. But Zini's team is good enough to be in the playoffs. Like I said, if you're looking at the rosters right now, it should be, Reflect, Shep, Zini, and then one spot for someone else. But Zini's been getting kind of unlucky on who she's playing. She ends up putting up these big numbers that would beat anybody else but the person that she's playing, which I had against Shep a couple weeks ago. It's like I finally ended up having a good fucking week, and then of course I had to play you to fucking ruin my day. So, but that's what happens when you end up having a good league and there's not a bunch of people that don't know what they're doing. People are actually trying to win. So. 4.9, right? But look at all the other pieces that played well, It's like if you're actually comparing what you guys are doing compared to everyone else in the league, you're getting bigger numbers out of your guys than everyone else, and hence the record. Short gain there. You should be sorry. Ruining my life. You're ruining my fantasy life. No, it's all good. I just got to hope that I can compete. I'm going to try, but... But it's good to have people that actually care, that want to win as much as I do, I take this shit very seriously, so... And it's nice to see at least a couple people take it as serious as me, so... Just not my year. T. Higgins. First down, Bengals. Realistically, no. You know, if I'm being honest, you know, you just have to look at your team compared to everyone else's that's at the top, you know, based off roster and who you have, you know. I might not be able to get there either, but, you know, I would be shocked if you made it, to be honest. You know, like I said, but anything is possible in fantasy if you get hot at the right time. But if you look at your roster and you compare it to Reflex or Chef's, you're not even in the same fucking atmosphere or stratosphere. You know, you might get lucky and beat me, but I don't know. I don't know if your team is good enough to get to the playoffs with top 4. Not to be, you know, a hater, just being real. Like, I don't even think I can get there. And I think my team's better than yours, top to bottom. And, you know, if I can't fucking get there, you sure as hell ain't going to get there either. If I can't fucking get there. But you never know. It is fantasy. More injuries happen, you know, things could, you know, change. So, yeah, but I needed to win this week against Matt if I was actually, because then I would have been 500 at 3-3, and then I would have been right there around like 4th or 5th place, you know, feeling pretty good on, you know, where things are going. But, you know, losing to Matt this week was really detrimental to my chances. Because then, you know, I got Captain Oreo next week, but, you know, I need to get to 500 and then get over 500, not go in the opposite direction, you know. I don't think I've ever seen anyone, you know, go on a 3-game losing streak and start the year 1-3 and make the playoffs, you know. Like, even as good as I am on the wire and as smart as I am, like, you know, I tried to put myself in the best position to win this week. I couldn't even do it. So I didn't leave any points on the bench, and I still lost. So I mean, and it's not like I would be able to catch up and get 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. The best I could hope for is 4th. But that would mean I would end up matching up against you in the first round and get obliterated. So, but it would be a good achievement for me to show that you could be in, like, you know, 8th or 9th place and you can fight all the way back to 4th. But, you know, I don't know how many wire moves I would have to make to get there, like 200. And then I'd have to have a little luck on top of that. I mean, I'm almost out of fucking 100 moves already. But I don't know. It's just unseen territory for me. You know, I'm always top 3, always winning a championship or getting 2nd and 3rd. You know, I've never lost games in the first month, let alone lost 3 games in a row and start off 1-3. You know, that's like some bullshit right there. Like 1-3 is like someone that doesn't even know what the fuck they're doing. But I guess it happens to people that get injuries too. So. But again, you learn your lesson, right? I will not draft the Great White Hype ever again. Cooper Kupp, never again. Run CMC, never again. So if I don't have that problem, yeah, I could still end up getting injuries like Reflect. But, you know, if I go wide receiver heavy, I don't got to worry about these type of problems like I'm having now. I don't want to, I wouldn't wish what I'm going through now on anybody. It's terrible. Yeah, Dodgers are kind of good. Reflect and Shep are like the Dodgers, and I'm like the goddamn Mets. Terrible. Yeah, and obviously, if you draft Cooper Kupp next year, he'll probably be a top 5 receiver. You know, I just don't want to have to deal with that. You know, once you burn me, you're done. You know, you're out of my life forever. You know, you burn me, I'll never again. It's never happening. You know, even if Christian McCaffrey is healthy for the rest of his career and never misses time ever again, I still won't draft him. It's like, once you burn me and you do this to me, I will never forget, and I'll never will forgive you ever. You screw me over, you're done. You know, you're dead to me. Period. Cooper Kupp, you're dead to me. Christian McCaffrey, you're dead to me. And that's how it goes. You know, I can find plenty of other pieces that I can use. So. Burrow in the tent. He's like, I gotta go take a shit. Burns smacks him. Pow. This one hurts. Back and his head snap back, just like Josh Allen a few days back. First down and 10. Jones going deep. Nice catch by Slayton. I like Kike Hernandez, but I'm not really big on the whole sword fight celebration, you know, where they kind of touch groins with each other. What's up with that? Like, I get it, like to be like playful in baseball and whatnot, and they have their little celebrations, but that's just plain weird, you know? Like, I like Kike Hernandez, but that celebration is a little too much for baseball. But Kike is a little out there himself, so. Shotgun set. Jones. No sword fighting in baseball. You didn't see the little like growing thing where they you know, he did a little like hip growing thrust, so they like their growings touched and whatnot with the celebration when they ended up advancing. When Kike ended up hitting the home run, it's all over social media. Maybe he was at a Diddy party. I don't know. It's just kind of weird to hip thrust another guy after doing something well. Like, I just, you know, that's just a weird thing to do. Like, if you want a butt slap, you know, that's fine. You know, good job. You know, but to do like a little like hip thrust, growing to growing, even if you're wearing cups, that's just weird. Like, be better, Kike. Britt in the building. What's good? Jones going long, going deep, got a man, incomplete. Did you see my message, Brett? I think your gift will be there like on Wednesday. I'm going to check right now to see if that's been updated. I think it's already on the East Coast right now. Let's look. So it looks like it hasn't been changed by Wednesday by 9 p.m. First down, Giants. And it's already in Springfield, Massachusetts today. So you're going to get it on Wednesday. Chase Elliott with 5th place finish today on the road course. Hi, Paisley. I love you. You want to come in? I love you. Paisley just snuck her head into the door. Yeah. Like, I didn't even get the one for me yet. You know, because like I said, I have to, you know, pay bills and take care of Paisley, but it makes me feel good when I can end up, you know, doing something nice for someone else. So, and it'll be something that you can actually rock and wear, and you can wear it indoors or outdoors, or when the race is on or when it's not on. So, just representing our guy, Napa know-how, Chase Elliott. But at some point from the Chase Elliott store, I'm going to get that CE one that has Elliott on the back with the 9. That'll be the one that I end up getting for myself at some point. Shotgun set. Jones. Good tackle there by the Bengals. Yeah. No, I decided to get the gift for you first, and then I'll figure out when the time is right for me to be able to get mine. So. Third down and 2. Oh, and he slips. Wow. Big third down slip there by Tracy. Because I like being able to take care of other people, you know. It's like, you know, when you get a little bit older, you know, like with Christmas time, you know, it's cool to be able to get gifts. But I think as you get a little bit older, you feel like so much better giving a gift to someone where you know that they're going to love it and appreciate it. And if it is something like clothes, like actually rock it and wear it. So I would rather try to do something nice to make you happy than just to make myself happy. So trips right, shotgun set, Jones, blitz, incomplete. Wow. Unbelievable. But when I was younger, you know, obviously, yeah, it's like, you know, Atari 2600, Nintendo, PlayStation, you know, video games and clothes and jerseys and all. Yeah, you know, it's like when you're younger, it's like, yeah, gimme. I want that. You know, it's like you end up being this like selfish person, right? You just want it all, right? And then when you get gifts, maybe you want more, right? But then as you get a little bit older and you mature, you know, I feel like I can always get something for myself, but it's like if I can make like Paisley happy or make you happy or make others happy, you know, that will make my heart feel better. It's like, what would make me more happy? Like buying something for myself or buying something for someone, you know, that I like or care about or that I want to make happy, you know, so. Oh, it's okay. I'll end up getting that Chase Elliott shirt, the other one. I'll end up getting it, you know, relatively soon, you know, but you'll enjoy it and it's cool. And again, it's just you'll end up getting your shirt before me just a little bit. So. I mean, you know, it's nicer to have people in your life that, you know, that care about others. You know, it's like you still want to make sure that you take care of yourself. You know, but with me, it's like I got Paisley. You know, I'm exercising on a regular basis. I feel that I'm in good shape. You know, I'm overall happy. You know, and I don't have any toxic people in my life ruining my life. So as long, you know, as I have the people in my life and I have Paisley, you know, I'm good, you know, and I got plenty of fucking clothes and jerseys in the closet. As I'm looking over in my closet now, I mean, I got more jerseys in my closet than the average person, and I haven't even bought a new jersey in years. So it's like, you know, I used to get to a point where I would buy a new jersey every year, you know, whether it be Oregon Ducks, Seattle Mariners, you know, Tampa Bay Bucks, Portland Trail Blazers, or whatever, you know, and obviously hoodies and t-shirts and, you know, all these other accessories like hats and gloves and whatever. So it just makes me happy knowing that you're going to be happy. So, and it'll be a cool thing that, you know, that you can own. So, and then eventually when the money is right, you know, once I got all the other things situated, then the other one will show up at your door and then I'll end up getting mine. So. Burrow. Well, Zach Moss's value is in the shitter, and based on you know, Jamar Chase and Burrow not having a monster day, it looks like you're going to win Reflect. And again, just because they were good for 1 week doesn't mean they're going to be good every week. And that's the main reason that I didn't pick you know, Burrow or Chase in the draft. You know, I mean, I like it that she doubled up Zini, you know, but again, just like with Captain Oreo going for Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, if the team is good, it works. But if the team is bad, you're going to get burnt some of the time. You're not going to get the consistent points week in and week out as if the team was good every week. And I don't think anyone anticipated the fucking Bengals being 1-4, or maybe the Jets being not as good as they, it is Aaron Rodgers and it's better than Zach Wilson, but still Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. You're not going to get a whole lot there. So we're at 32, 68 to go. But I sent it by the text message there, based off the screenshot and whatnot. So, but it looks like Wednesday by 9, so you'll have it in a couple days. Dodgers with bases loaded. The Dodgers are about to score more points than the Bengals. God, the Mets are terrible. Shouldn't even be in the playoffs. Shotgun set. Burrow. Floater. Wide open. First down, Bengals. Chris Collinsworth getting excited like Joe Burrow is like Tom Brady or Joe Montana. It's like, you're playing the fucking Giants. Of course he can make throws. Joe Burrow has already been to a Super Bowl, even though he didn't win. When he's healthy, he's typically like a top 5 quarterback. It's like, if you're a top 5 quarterback, you're probably going to be able to make some amazing fucking throws, especially when you're going against a dog shit team like the Giants. Fumble! Fumble! Oh! Oh, wow. Oh, my. They got lucky right there. That could have been the turnover the Giants needed to tie the game to go to overtime, because they probably can't even get a touchdown. But we could have got 10-10. That was like the most exciting play of the game. This is the worst Sunday night game. If I knew it was going to be like this, we could have done Dodgers-Mets, but then that game's terrible too. 9-0 Dodgers, 10-7 Bengals. Golly. I could have just spent 3 hours with Paisley, but I do like spending time with y'all. It's good for my mental health. Every day I like to keep busy and interact with you guys and talk to you guys to see how you guys are doing. So even though the games aren't really that good, I enjoy, the vibe and the times that we have every day. It really does mean a lot, to me. Like, I wake up and I already know like what we're going to be doing for the day, but it's like, I look forward to being able to have this time with you guys every day for like the regulars. And not necessarily just the mods, the regulars that are here every day. You guys are very, very special to me. And I really do appreciate the time and effort and energy that you guys put in, whether you guys, donate or not, like, sub, share, everything that you guys do makes my life a little bit better. So I appreciate it. But I wish the games were a little bit more competitive. Kraken lost 2-0, but it's the Stars. They're a better team. So, looks like Kraken aren't going to make the playoffs this year either. I highly doubt it based on what I've seen in the first 3 games. They don't look like a team that can make the playoffs. But, I'll still do some games, and hopefully they get better. But 9-0 in game number 1, 23-0. Going back to the Padres series. 10-7. Some weird games this weekend, at least on Sunday. Hell yeah, bro. Show me. Hell yeah. I'm proud of you. I just try to be able to set the right example. Some people, are set in their ways. Some people are lazy. Some people, just don't think that they can do it, But again, like I said, I feel like I can connect, with an audience better than most hosts, where I actually give a damn about who your guys' favorite teams and players are and what's going on in your life. Where a lot of streamer hosts, they act like they care, but they don't. You know, they really just care about making money and growing the channel with subs and whatnot, you know. And, you know, I like to be able to, you know, share my personal experiences with y'all, even if some things are a little personal, but because I think that it gives you a chance to be able to relate more, you know, to a host and a person. You know, I'm not just someone that you guys can, you know, have a beer with or go to a game with, you know, like, you know, I feel that some of us have really strong bonds where, you know, we can actually be good, you know, you start off as fans and then it turns into friends, and some of us it's family. And, you know, anyone that can join the, you know, the health journey that I'm on, you know, and my mental health journey and my physical health journey, you know, being in a toxic relationship and, you know, and just being in mental health hell, and you know, and now not having to worry about that. My mental health has been great for a year. I don't think I've had a bad day. And obviously having someone like Paisley in my life has changed my life for the better. And again, but you know, if you do get a cat or a dog, you got to make sure you give it the love and the effort and the energy. You just can't be like, oh, I'm going to give it all the love and the snugs and the you know, the kisses and the hugs when they're a baby, and then they turn into an adult, and then you know, don't care anymore. You know, like I said, like for me, I feel like I love Paisley more today, even though she's 3, than I did when she was cute when she was a baby. You know, because I know that she needs someone like me in her life to be able to give her the best life possible. The 10, the 5, touchdown, Bengals. Chase Brown with another tutty. I was about to say, good thing I didn't start Zach Moss, but it didn't matter. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. We're going to beat the shit out of them. And we didn't even get the #1 ranking, so of course we're going to be fucking angry about that. You know, regardless if Texas is going to lose to Georgia or if Georgia beats Texas, who cares? But you know, it's like, what do we have to do to be able to get a ranking for 1 week? You know, we're not deserving to be #1 for a week, even if it's just a week, you know? So the Pac-12 getting the shaft again. What's new? But we'll beat the shit out of them. But that's awesome that you're, you know, keeping up, you know. And again, I feel like if you end up eating right most of the time and you end up walking every day like you do, it ends up turning into like a habit and like an addiction that's positive. Some people have drinking addictions that's bad, or they're partying. But if you can have an addiction as positive as like eating healthy and walking, your life will change. But it's up to you to have the discipline to do it even when you don't want to. But again, when you end up having a dog, I have no excuse. She needs it. So it's like, I don't have the option. Well, I'm tired. I don't feel like it. No, like I'm walking 3 times a day for 30 to 45 minutes. No ifs, ands, or buts, because she has to go pee and poo, and she needs to sniff her flowers, and we need to go on an adventure together. So, you know, I haven't missed, you know, a walk, you know, in that time period. I've never gotten to a point where like, nah, I don't feel like it. It's like, you almost feel like sick if you don't do it. Like you have to do it because you know it's going to make you feel better. So. All right, let me see these real quick. And where is this at? Is this in Georgia or is this in a different state? Ooh, look at that countertops in that bathroom. The countertops in that bathroom with that gray and black with the speckle. Ooh. I like little details. You know, I'm a detail kind of guy. Okay. I saw the first one. Ooh, hardwood floors on this other one. Ooh, look at that countertop on that kitchen. Look at the appliances. Ooh, that one. I don't know if this is the same house or if they're two separate that you said, but the one that's got the island in the kitchen with the countertop. Ooh, that's nice with the hardwood floors. Very fire. Is that the same house or is that two different? Hardwood floors look great. That fucking kitchen countertop, superb. And then the other one that had the kitchen that had the there as well. Fire, bro. I like it. Same house. It looks good, dude. And it got the nice little granite, countertop in the sink in the bathroom, very fire. And then that island and the shape of the island with the granite countertop, and then the way the appliances are kind of set up, very fire. Like, it seems very like, come home and hang out here type of vibe. 9-0 Dodgers. The Dodgers have scored more points than the Giants tonight. Golly. I'm an attention to detail kind of guy, so. But it's also not just the attention to detail about like granite countertops or hardwood floors. It's how things are positioned. Like what are the shapes? Where are they located? And how does it look compared to the rest of the appliances in the room? Everything has to kind of blend together nicely. And it looks incredible. First down and 10. Jones. And that's deflected. Yeah, but this right here, this makes me feel good. 30 pounds in 18 months is incredible. And again, if you look back to where you were, like before you and me really were close, until like where we're at now, when we, share information about, Seahawks or Mariners or NFL or fantasy, I feel like my life is better with you in it, and I always know there's always going to be a few people, that I'm going to meet in my life, either, online or physical or both, that are going to have an impact on my life. And I'm glad that the impact that you've made on my life in a positive way, that I've been able to do a little bit for you as well. So that makes me feel good. That's probably the best thing that I've heard in quite a while. So, if I can be a little bit of an inspiration instead of just sharing my stories, but actually get people to act on what I'm doing, And if you go back and look at photos of me from a couple years ago on how fat I was, to be from, 270 to 185, I feel like I've lost a person, like literally. And I don't plan on being that fat person ever again. So, and I have you guys to thank for that, as well as Paisley, as well as my own discipline. 177. Oh my gosh. Congrats. That is awesome. Like, I think for me, my I've kind of plateaued, but I was kind of hoping to get to like 180, 185, but I am 6 foot. So I don't know how tall you are, what your height is. But, back when I was in high school, it was probably, 175 to like 185 around that point. So for me to be floating around, 185 to 188, I don't think I would want to get any lower than 180. But, I feel like even with me eating healthy and exercising and not eating fast food and not drinking soda, I've kind of plateaued. I haven't really been able to get any lower than 185. It's been like 185, and then the next day 187, and then maybe 188. And then I'm like, what happened? And then I go back to 185, but I haven't been able to get under 185. But I'm okay with that, especially being at 270, 185. It's like, man, I feel great. My face is thinned out. And I just feel awesome. First down and 10, Jones. Wan'Dale Robinson. 15-yard game. Everyone's fantasy numbers today are in the shitter in this game. Hasn't been very good. 5'11" and 3'4", so you're close to my height then. Oh, doggy dog. Yeah. I definitely would love to be able to meet up with some of y'all for sure, again. And I feel like, certain people, it's like for life, it's like my best friend, Justin. Like I already knew right away, with the things that we have in common and the person that he is, if you're a genuine, honest person that cares about other people, we're probably going to be friends for life. It's like, if you think of others before yourself, again, there's so many people out there that are so fucking selfish and whatnot. It's just nice to be able to meet people that I feel that are kind of like me, and again, like some of my old friends were, definitely people that would like to take advantage of others. And that's why I had to, try to cut myself away from those people, and those type of people. All of us have had friends like that they're only, calling you up when you're buying beers or, when they know that you're going to, provide something, Those type of people are the fucking worst, the moochers and whatnot. So, but you guys definitely have made a big positive impact on my life, and it feels good that I've made an impact on some of yours. So it's never too late to change your life for the better. Third down and 3. Shotgun set. Jones. Slayton. And I think that, that's the biggest thing for me. It's like trying not to be biased and to try to teach people how to be not biased, even though like 95% of sports fans are. It's like to be able to teach people that it's okay to like, even if it's not for fantasy, like you can root for greatness. Sometimes it's hard to be able to root for a guy that you're playing against to, play well, because obviously you don't want your team to lose. But it's also, in retrospect, to be able to appreciate greatness while it's here. It's like me, being a Blazer fan and seeing Kobe. Of course, a lot of Blazer fans hated fucking Kobe, but then obviously realizing, how great Kobe was, and I think it took Kobe to die for people to really realize, rest in peace, Kobe, like how much of a legend and an icon that he is. And, there was a time where I hated Kobe, but after a while, I really started to appreciate his greatness. And obviously he is a better person and a greater athlete than LeBron, in this generation. I mean, it's the closest thing to Jordan that we're going to get. And, I feel like Kobe's work ethic is not something that can be duplicated. There's certain people that are amazing because of the time and the energy and the effort that they put in. And that is essentially Kobe Bryant. And I know a lot of Blazer fans have turned the page, and instead of hating Kobe, they started to love Kobe. And, as hard as that was as being a Blazer fan and having him just like beat the Blazers over and over and over. But hey, guess what? Kobe did it to everyone, not just the Blazers. So I think once Blazer fans realized that, then they started to really like appreciate Kobe for who he was on and off the court, especially being an amazing dad to his kids before he passed away. Final score, 17-7 Bengals. Worst Sunday night game of the year, but again, you guys always make things fun every single day. So I appreciate every single person that liked, subbed, donated, commented, shared. Let me throw up a little Breaking Bad Better Call Saul photo here at the very end for Reflect, even though he doesn't care about photos. But to at least get 1 or 2 before we go, and then we'll call it a day. What a terrible Sunday night game, but at least you guys made it fun. It's always fun, regardless of what game is going on, You got good people in the room. It really doesn't... Like, obviously, if the game ends up being like Oregon, Ohio State, then it's going to be like, uber exciting. But, again, we can still end up, having a game like this with the Bengals 17, Giants 7. And obviously, it was not a good game, but, I still always have a great time with you guys. This is a new one. I haven't been able to get this one formatted before. It's always good when you can get something new.
It's a reflection of the adventurous spirit.
But it's always good to hear when I can inspire people to be better. So, and that they made a difference in their own life, regardless if it was me or, just seeing how things are going in your life and, being a little inspired. Reflect with the 22. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. And I imagine that there's going to be some of us, we will meet, as long as I end up living a decent amount of years in my life, which I hope to. So appreciate you very, very much. Matt's like, go to my house. Here, let me look. I'll look up to see real quick. Let's look up to see where your old house was. How far away is it from my house right now? Let's look. I'm going to punch it in. Let's take a look. 20782. Because obviously we know Matt lives in Hawaii now, so this is his old house. Longbow Lane. Holy shit. You lived 4 miles away from where I live right now. Damn. You would have been my neighbor in like my neighborhood. 4 miles away. What the hell? Over near Quatama Park and Ride. Damn, you don't live that far. You didn't live that far from me. Wow. That's wild. 4 miles. Yeah. Well, again, it takes effort, and again, with the type of job that you have and, the stress that you have, I love Flavortown. And again, also too, if I didn't have Paisley, I probably wouldn't be as disciplined because walking by yourself takes a hell of a lot of discipline, and to be able to do it 2 or 3 times a day, but to have Paisley and the type of dog breed that she is as an American Staffy, I have no room to be a lazy parent. I have to really give her 200% every day, 100 kisses, 100 I love yous, and, an hour and a half of walking every day. And there's no exceptions. So that's kind of how it goes. But I love Flavortown. Don't get me wrong, Well, I love you guys and I appreciate you guys very, very much. You guys are the best. I couldn't ask for a better group. Hopefully tomorrow and the Jets and the Bills will be better. So the schedule will be Jets, Bills Monday night. Then it'll be Guardians, Yankees on Tuesday at like 4:30. Wednesday, it'll end up being the Dodgers and the Mets, hopefully better than today's game. And then on Thursday, it's going to be the Broncos and the Saints. So that'll be what's on tap. 2 football games, 2 baseball games. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys. And thank you so much for all your love and support. Appreciate you, Reflect, and Matt, and Sarah, and Shep, and everyone in the room. Captain Oreo as well. Appreciate you guys. You guys are the fucking best. Love ya. Appreciate you. And I got one question for you. Well, talk sports like us. Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, and I'm out. Gang.